See, yeah, because you can see the stars.
Oh yeah.
You know, and
We were never able to see stars from the lunar surface or on the daylight side of the moon.
It's not
Which is a
black
cool
and
thing.
white. I mean, it's black, but there's all kinds of polka dots.
Space is fake AF. Space is fake AF.
There's more than stars. You can see planets. You can see moons.
you see the gas.
It don't matter. Say the sky was not the limit. You fly to the moon in another second. But we haven't been back since 1972. Destroyed all the papers and blew up the Challenger crew. Except for the twinsies. Space is fake AF. Space is fake AF.
Look out into deep space away from the sun, it's the darkest black you can imagine.
Hey, space boy, you broke my rocket man heart. Where are the stars? Is it bright or is it dark? The vacuum of space, oh the tomfoolery.
What happens if you get a leak on that? You have a leak.
Deep under my bubble.
It's hard to comprehend.
Space is fake AF.
Two little bitty O-rings.
Space is fake AF.
It's not what you think, homeboy.
Space is fake AF.
It's all just start doing this.
Space is fake AF.
Research Eddie Bravo. You just have a leak, and what you would do is lose air.
All right, good evening, domestic terrorists. There's at least 30 of us in here. Great, perfect. We can start. That is Space is Fake AF by Chief Crow. And tonight we're going to talk about a number of things. We have the fake shooting in the Czech Republic that seems to have borrowed the script from the one in New Jersey. And we'll get into those, but I want to start off with this. This is really the best example of duper's delight I've ever seen. Look at this face. Okay, so do you remember a couple of months ago when I was talking about how it seems like the political left, the eco-fascists, are at the point where they're ready to start eating babies? And I was making this point because they're talking about how in space they can print out meat. And I'm like, wait, if they're going to print out meat, because they can't bring animals into space for sacrificing them. And if they're really pushing the green agenda and they're trying to get people past eating real meat and into the Soylent Green variety, why would they even create synthetic cow meat based on an actual cow, which presupposes a slaughter? So I was suggesting that, well, maybe they ought to just start printing out, meat taken from aborted babies or something, because that's where they're at. And sure enough, you have this character who comes out, obviously a Democrat, slightly deranged, and she goes up to AOC and says, even if we make the new Green Deal, it's not enough, we have to eat the babies. So let me start with that. We have to eat the babies. And this is from The Sun.
Going to be here for much long because of the climate crisis.
This is basically Greta on steroids, but making the same exact arguments.
crisis. We only have a few months left. I love that you support the Green Deal, but it's not getting rid of fossil fuel. It's not going to solve the problem fast enough. A Swedish professor saying, we can eat dead people, but that's not fast enough. So I think your next campaign slogan has to be this: we got to start eating babies. We don't have enough time. There's too much CO2. All of you.
Okay, so she goes in this panic. We got to eat the babies. There's too much CO2. So, at the time, I just assumed this was her. And that's kind of my point here. It was believable. It's totally believable that the people on the left are ready to start eating babies. Well, look at this face. Okay, now check this out. This is today outside of a Trump rally in Pennsylvania. So I think we're breaking it here. But this is okay, this is her. This is her. She's not panicking about the environment. She's actually a pro-Trump troll who is deep faking as a distraught eco-fascist.
A baby eater.
She went to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez town hall and she said, I like that you guys are banning the CO2 and trying to shut down industry, but it's not enough. You have to eat the babies. We have to eat the babies. And AOC is like, okay, well, maybe. Well, absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
People should all get our LaRouche PAC report. CO2 reduction is a mass murder policy designed by...
Now that's a good point there. So yes, it was a deep fake. Yes, it was an epic troll. Performance art, yeah, it was beautiful. I love it. But she has this pamphlet here. CO2 reduction is a mass murder policy. And I've been saying this the whole time. That's why I say it's eco-fascist. They're taxing the air that you breathe. And so, yeah, she trolled AOC. She gave the right, and people like me with a certain bias, the right to say, hey, look, they're openly honest about what they really want to do. But it's funny because she's doing a parody of extremism. But her Poe was so good and so accurate that she fooled the world, including myself. I thought she was just one. I really didn't think she was trolling. But now I'm like, wow, that is epic. And there you can see it. See that expression? You might recognize it. That's the face you see on most witnesses to the mass shootings that we see on TV. We're like, what is that face? What is that just sheer, utter delight? Well, it's called duper's delight. And it's just programmed into us. When one human fools another, they get this rush out of it. And there you see it. Duper's delight just gushing out of her face. The face of a crisis actor. But anyway, I'm just saying, hey, look, if nothing else, this proves that the right-wing crisis actors are better than the left-wing ones. Far more believable. And you can find this at autohoax.com. Trump supporter deep faking as an environmentalist to make it look like the left is ready to start eating babies. Okay, next topic. We were the ones to first break a few of the details about the Juice WRLD, specifically some of the lyrics and some old tweets that were found where he was predicting in advance, 2 years ago. This guy predicted, yeah, I'm going to get really famous, then I'm going to fake my own death. I'm looking for some footage here of this other related event where he apparently sold his soul. Anyway, we're looking into this apparent death faker. And so if you have any more info on that, it'll be welcome. We're building our case here. And then we want to talk about this, the New Jersey supermarket. And when it first started, I made some predictions. And I'm going to go through it in order. So here's a couple predictions regarding the New Jersey shooting. At first I figured it's going to have to do with, I assumed it was going to be white shooters that hate Jews and blacks, because kosher grocery store, then there was that Bayview and Martin Luther King. And if this is scripted, as we're asserting news is, I'm not assuming it's real. That's the last thing I'm assuming. I'm just like, okay, well, what's up? What are they showing us? And this is what we're breaking down. And so I followed it since this morning. And so if you're not familiar with it, basically the story is 6 dead, including a cop and the shooters, at a New Jersey kosher supermarket. And it's a juvenile shooters, male and female. I don't know if they put the juvenile thing in there to prevent the analysis of who they are, protect their identity. I don't know. Usually it's case closed day one. A few other things that go along with this, they lock down like 30,000 kids, so they make sure that the schools get the message. Oh, it's danger. So at first I thought it's probably going to be blamed on whites, and it'll be used to censor hate speech on the internet. That was my first thing, my first thought, but it might not be that, and I'm still looking. Here's an example of the war zone here, and there's quite a bit of what I would call kabuki theater. It looks fake, and that's important. Jared says it's worth noting that Juice WRLD's girlfriend had a square and compass tattoo. Oh, good to know. I'll be compiling that, but for now we're going to spend about the next 15 minutes going over what I have here on the New Jersey event. Warning, graphic content. Usually that means it's not graphic, but they want you to assume it is, so if you have a weak stomach, you look away. Because they don't want you looking too closely. You hear the laughter? And then the shots. Now, it sounds like fireworks, and many of the witnesses will describe it as fireworks, as you'll see. But it was reported that there were 200 shots. Dozens of bystanders watch, pressing against a police barrier. See, this is immediately where I think it's fake. Because if there's a gunfight going on, people aren't going to rush to get shot. And only in the movies, where they want to see the action where the superhero fights the bad guy. So I would pretty much expect that the people pressing the barrier aren't witnesses, but they're actually guards, keeping people who aren't part of the operation from seeing anything or recording anything. So this is again from Time. The news also prompted schools to be locked down amid reports of casualties, so they're able to scare the kids. And we're just going through the footage here. This is what they do. They spread the fear around. Governor Phil Murphy says, "I've been briefed on the unfolding situation. Our thoughts and prayers. Standoff. Children are under lockdown." So part of this whole thing, and one of the reasons why I think it's important not to treat these things as real, is that there is an agenda to use fake shootings to justify systematically terrorizing kids with hyper-realistic school shooting drills. And that's what the purpose of the drills. The drills are there as the new duck and cover, as a way of inducing Stockholm Syndrome and trauma bonding with the police state. That's why they're doing this. It's not to get your guns. That's the distraction. That's the red herring. The truth is, they've been doing fake school shootings for 20 years to justify the drills because of what the drills do psychologically to the kids, along with the propagandizing the kids and their parents so that they don't have to take the guns. They'll be gunophobic by the time they graduate, and that's the whole point. So he assures us, yep, we're properly terrorizing your kids. Okay, now this is an interesting piece here. This is Mark Kennedy, real Mark Kennedy. So at first I watched this little bit of footage on Twitter, and I noticed his almost gleeful depiction of it, like they're happy about it. And you'll see where I'm going with this one. So this was posted at 11:25 a.m. and this is this is another thing too. Like, wait, this is a war zone. You got this ragtag group of guys with their weapons, goose-stepping up the street. Why is this person sitting here recording it? Just in, massive police response in New Jersey. Oh, cannot be played. I wonder why. I have it from somewhere else. And oh, there we go. See, look at this group of guys marching up the street. That guy, what does he have? Some of them wearing hoodies. Like, they're not even dressed uniformly. This guy's got sneakers. That guy's got Converse. This guy has a stripe up his leg. These guys don't. He's got a beanie. He's got nothing on his head. Where are the helmets? Like, they're just very, I would say, kind of random. Okay, this is all very strange, and obviously it's very closed off, which is typical. So now I looked at this tweeter, the guy who tweeted this, real Mark Kennedy, and he made sure it got out to 153,000 people. I looked at his page. Mark Kennedy And I'm just reading what he's about. Brooklyn, New York, MAGA, pro-life, Jewish politics, America First, Israel, Donald Trump, freedom of speech, conservative, populist. And he says here, this just in, hostage situation, stay tuned. And of course, stay tuned. When I hear that, it just sounds like they're hyping it up. And some of these pictures, are worth 1,000 words. What you'll see, some of them are just unbelievable. But I want to continue to go through some of the footage here because it reminds me of the footage from the shootout the other day with the UPS, where it looks choreographed. Take a look. Jordan says totally unprofessional, against all training. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't look legit. Kind of like you see people at these events where they're pointing their weapons randomly. They don't know how to button their helmets up. Their camo doesn't match. But look at this. It's kind of small, but what we're seeing here is a lot of footage that appears to be choreographed to look like an action movie. There's a lot of camera shaking as he runs across the street.
The newsroom. Let's go to that tape right now.
Why do we have to see a moving camera? And then the camera ducks behind a car. So they're giving you POV, point of view, which is designed. This is cinematography. This isn't about journalism or reporting. You see these characters running out. It looks like a scene from a movie, and this is intentional because the movies are there to make the garbage they show you in the news seem realistic and plausible. Paradoxically, they use Netflix to get you ready for the news. They use fiction to prepare you for fake news, and it works. And this is the real fake news, not the political bias. We're talking not the editorial bias. We're talking about movies presented as real. So there's no reason to have this journalist in danger from Channel 7 or whatever ducking behind a car. And then why are they presenting it right now? Again, this is a crime scene in progress. Why is the public being involved? This is all agenda-driven media. Is it real? I really don't think so. I have no reason to think so yet anyway. So my initial assessment, though, is that this was going to be blamed on whites because I was seeing it promoted by a lot of pro-Israel right-wingers. Usually if it's going to be something like a white guy, it'll be promoted by the left. But here it says here, I'm thinking right now, it might even be ISIS or Muslim terrorists. It could still be that. I haven't ruled that out. So here's a little snippet here. And again, you got the kids, and they actually have pictures of the children in school beneath their desks, texting their parents or texting people to let them know they're okay. It says the dramatic scene unfolded in a Catholic school, an area that has a Catholic school, convenience stores, synagogues, and churches. So they mentioned synagogues and churches. So that's another element to it. 30,000 students were locked down for hours. That's a lot of people to be told, okay, you got to lock down, you're under attack. And that's the propaganda. So they're in school, and the media psyops are part of their education or maleducation. So here you go, a bunch of kids just, it's meant to normalize it. So they see this as, okay, this is something that's just going to happen. And something else, we're having bystanders getting hit now by police rounds at almost every event, like in the last week. And we're having a bunch of them. No, the auto hoaxers. You really do have to be something of a watchdog to not let these things slip by. And, something I said to the caller that, I was just asking him, do you believe 100% of the news that you don't watch? And his answer, of course, was no. Everybody will lie and say no. But the truth is, most people believe 100% of the news they didn't watch. They believe the history they didn't read. They just kind of passively assume it to be real. They never really challenge it. So here you've got a couple of individuals in the fire department smiling. I mean, this thing looks like a movie set. Like, what's so funny? Aren't people getting shot? And of course, what are the firemen doing here? I mean, is this a scene in progress? I understand they're using all these different agencies, but you just happen to see a whole lot of various groups out because when they do these staged events, they actually basically do drills and they involve every department they possibly can. Kosher, of course, kosher supermarket, and again, this is one of the themes. I think Martin Luther King Drive is probably symbolic just because the name and the mimetic value. It invokes civil rights. But here's where we're getting into the good cinematography. Okay, take a look at this. They have this Nick Cage looking guy, and then you have this like veteran guy looking concerned. Like this is a scene out of a movie. So you're supposed to believe that like the news media is here like watching this event unfold, and they're like, oh look, we got the FBI here. We're watching them. This is like a really tense moment. Like, no, this is made for TV garbage. This is baloney. And they chose a guy that looks like Nicolas Cage. I mean, I'm surprised. Just get a mask, Maybe put a Tom Cruise mask on someone. Like, this is just getting ridiculous. Like, they ought to just put the police officers in Batman costumes already. This is for entertainment. This is like a comic book. This is just too well storyboarded. This is a really good storyboard already. Like, I have to say, the cinematography is excellent. This has been a great production so far. It hasn't been ruined by any, really garbage crisis actors yet. I haven't really watched all the videos. We haven't had a Gene Oakley or a... Now look at this one here. So again, the news media is there in time, even though there's bullets flying, 200 bullets, they are there in time to see someone being wheeled out. Now I'm looking here. The paramedic right here does have gloves on, from what I can see. The other person doesn't. This one doesn't either. And this is what struck me as rather out of place. There's a blanket, no visible wounds. Like, I don't even think this person's been shot. So the person probably won't even be accounted for in the final story. It looks theatrical. But I'm looking at the fingernails here, and I have some close-ups. So here you have a paramedic, and I'm looking at her fingernails, and they are so long that there's no way she could put rubber gloves on. So if someone had a bullet wound, like hey, look, lady, I got a sucking chest wound. She's like, hold on, let me put my gloves on in case you have a pathological condition, bloodborne pathogens or AIDS or something. And I'm like, no, I'm dying. And she puts the gloves on, and then her nails will just pop through the gloves. And that's what I'm saying here. This is not a real paramedic. She probably came over here thinking she was going to work as a crisis actor, a grieving widow, and she's going to cry for the camera. And instead, they put her in this getup, and look at her nails. So that is not an EMT. Prove me wrong. Okay, now this was I think, a real fake-looking piece here. A couple more things. I mean, Warzone. Yeah, I got a close-up for you. I do think this picture here really says 1,000 words. Those are very, very long nails. And you can see the names of the companies they work for on their hats and stuff. So it might be worth going through some of these pictures and trying to determine, are we looking at anything real here, or are we looking at an acting troupe? Do they have their Government Actors Guild cards? A couple other pictures I want to show you. So here's a ridiculous one. And this is why I think this might actually be a Muslim thing, like an Islam thing, but I'm not quite sure. It's either this. It's either some type of, I don't know, it might be interesting. Maybe some black Hebrew Israelite, but no. Definitely I'm thinking it's an Islamic thing, like ISIS. At first I thought it was going to be white, but I see too many pro-Trump people pushing this thing, like tweeting about it. And a lot of these psyops require a lot of social media participation from these plants in order to get the narratives out there. But I saw this scene here where this guy with a helmet and this other guy who doesn't have a helmet are standing out there like it's safe, and they're just talking. So they make it a point to show you the types of people who are the victims. So this is already kind of scripting itself out, and they're acting like they don't know the motives. Just a commenter says, I can hear the gunshots like fireworks going off. They were shooting like crazy an hour ago, and the cops were clearing everyone off the streets. Except for those people who needed to do photo ops, of course. Oh, there's quite a lot more to go over, but another point here, the dramatic scene unfolded. You'll notice with many of the staged events, they use the like stay tuned, dramatic. They do use the lexicon of production. And so based on my initial assessment, it's going to be probably something like radical terrorism, which is always a good sell around Easter and around Christmas for obvious reasons. Yeah, Jordan, another dude chilling with the cops in the middle of all. Yeah, if the cops were clearing the streets, they would have cleared the streets, but that guy had to be there for a photo op. So I'm just saying it's very staged, and then you have to wonder what's the media doing in a firefight? How come they are, what are they, bulletproof? Okay, so that's the New Jersey one. Now there's one other one I wanted to touch on briefly, just because the numbers kind of match up. Here we have 6 dead, 3 injured, and so I have this other one. This is a Czech Republic shooting. Not a whole lot of information yet, but I'm going to dig into it. I know that they had initially pegged the wrong guy and they published the wrong person's photo, which happens a lot, and they had to clear it. The shooter happens to be 42, and those of you who have been watching, and I'm not into numerology, but I am into patterns, and I recognize patterns. And with a lot of the meta-scripting, the number 42 has been used a lot in conjunction with these shootings, strangely enough, among a few other things related to it. But 42 seems to be a consistent reference to the red flag laws, 42. And it seems to me that I think we even had the first person based on these red flag laws. We've had someone's guns seized. But it seems like these things are kind of borrowing from each other, because this one here, look, kills 6, wounds 3, same day. Same overarching agenda. And it's only partly about taking your guns. That's like a long-term social engineering project. When you voluntarily beat you take your swords into plowshares. You're going to voluntarily give up your guns, or your children or your grandchildren will, because they'll have been sick of all this violence. And even when they're trying to stop the violence, the good guys are still hitting the bad guys. Okay, so Wild Wild West. See, again, listen to the words that they use to describe it. Witness describes active New Jersey shooter situation as Wild Wild West. Active shooter and standoff took the streets of Jersey, prompting lockdowns in the schools and police and residents taking cover. See, even in your homes, now you're ducking and covering in your homes. It's not just duck and cover in the schools. It's duck and cover at home. Straight out of the Wild West, NBC New York. Police, detective, 5 others dead in Jersey firefight. Now, none of you have seen, just for the record, none of you have seen any evidence of real violence. You've just heard accounts of it. And it's important to remember that. It's important to remember what you actually have and have not seen. So I get this from WorldNet Daily. If it bleeds, it leads. They love this stuff. Warzone kosher market ambush leaves 6 dead, including cop. And of course, they just put blood all over it. And I guess they opened fire at a cemetery, so the story goes. And this is another aspect to it. Some of these events, like the UPS or the one in Odessa or this one, multiple scenes, multiple locations. They even did that with New Zealand, multiple locations, 2 different mosques, and the encounter somewhere else. They did it with Anders Breivik. So these are large operations. And they accomplish a whole lot with these things. Ambush. Okay, so we still don't have, it may come up any minute now. We still don't have a full explanation who or why, but again, the main pictures. Kids in school laying down, a bunch of action film nonsense, kabuki theater, people aiming at the, I mean, this is just corny. And then you have the paramedics with the super long nails. But what they're saying are 2 men opened fire. I saw another account, they said it was a man and a woman, but they were juveniles. So we're still waiting to find out specifically. But I am under no impression that this thing is whatsoever real. Look at these pictures, come on. Okay, look, this is such, I would like to know if any of these individuals are real, or if they're part of a local, maybe one of these guys looks familiar, honestly. Look at this guy here in the middle. Looks a little mandoozled. But they look like they came out of a talent agency. Like, do these look like real cops? None of their uniforms match. None of their uniforms match. Look at their beards. Okay, so what kind of police response would you expect if you have a sniper in your hood? This guy's got a pistol. His chubby hands on this pistol. Look at that. Okay, and then you have this guy with whatever that is. He's got a beanie. He's just got a ton of hair gel. That guy's wearing mascara. I'm sorry. Then you got the hats, and look at this. I'm just saying they look like a bunch of actors. I mean, am I wrong? And look at the goofy way that they're all aiming and stuff. Now you're supposed to believe that they're actually firing at someone up there. What are they doing not behind cover? And did they all go to Kohl's or whatever store they have there and go shopping for jeans in the same place at the same time? Like they're all matching with their plainclothes garbage. But I don't know. I don't buy it. It looks corny. If I'm wrong, if this is the uniform, let me know. But so far, I've just been looking at this, and I got to find the audio. Someone have the audio for me of the police scanner. You got to hear that. And we have some other stuff related to the Juice WRLD having to do with this bizarre viral seizure dance, which I'll get into that as well. I just want to make sure I've covered the bases with regards to the latest shootings. Oh, if you didn't know, hey, look this. YouTube has reviewed the content and they said hate speech. Is Juice WRLD faking his death? YouTube says that's hate speech. They say, we know it might be disappointing, but we want to keep YouTube a safe place. Content breaks our rules, we remove it. Keep reading for more details. So just so you know, they pulled that video down. And one other thing about this latest shooting here in New Jersey. One of the very first things, articles I saw today. Actually, no, this has to do with Pensacola. With the Saudis shooting up the school on the military base. Well, right after they were hit with some type of a cyber attack. So many of these psyops, right? So we have this naval base shooting, and then we have the other one at the shipyard. But at this naval base shooting, it was also mentioned that it was recorded, and that the shooter, a Saudi, was actually watching shooting videos the night before. And this is in Pensacola. So I'm looking at this thing, the news yesterday, and there's a follow-up where it says they were hit by a cyber attack. And look at this. Pensacola hit by cyber attacks days after shooting at military base. And this is there in Florida. Now, the interesting thing is, all the articles about this are saying the city said the issue had impacted the 311 customer service. Every one of these articles, 311 service and online payments, phone lines and 311 customer service have been disrupted. So again, 311, as we have been following this scripting, has very interesting implications considering how that event in Pensacola has invoked the name of Osama bin Laden, 9/11, and of course hitting around the anniversary of Pearl Harbor and the Pearl Harbor shipyard. If you look at the narrative and the scripting, 9/11 being a Pearl Harbor event, and the meta scripting has been pointing out a 3/11 somehow being connected to the next 9/11. So a little more foreshadowing. So for those of you who are following that 11/3 3/11 thing, looks like some meta scripting right here. Just do a search for Pensacola shooting 3/11. So if you didn't know, 3/11 was is the inverse of the 11/3, which a lot of the scripting about the 11/3 event seemed to go both ways. But it's kind of interesting that they highlighted that right after that event. And again, the media has brought up the specter of Osama. Okay, so the Juice WRLD one was taken down. Oh, here's something from Tim and Vic. Apparently, the astrological and planetary alignments on January 13th, specifically the Saturn-Pluto opposition, will be similar to the alignments from 9/11. Could it be that 11/3 might be read as 1/13? So those of you who are disappointed that Seattle didn't get nuked on November the 3rd, there's still doom hope that it could happen on 113. Of course, it'll be fake. Of course, it's going to be fake. Now, Jordan says, I can't believe they evoked the OBL. Well, Osama bin Laden is still a powerful symbol, just like Adam Lanza. They're symbols. And they bring these things out for a few reasons. They know that this is the time of the year, that holidays. They know that Pearl Harbor, that military take their leave. And so for military families, holidays are big. And so then you have, of course, multi-generational military families, people who remember Pearl Harbor. And what this propaganda is targeted at is, of course, reaching people when they're together with their families. This is part of the right-wing thing. They like to do terrorist drama around holidays. It also ties into this clash of civilizations. You know, each religion hates the other religion's holidays. But this one here is also aimed at influencing the military. The military needs to believe they have an enemy to destroy. Well, what better way to condition them than to psyop them? So even though, you know, this is the thing too, we're targeted with these things all the time. You know, the kids are targeted with fake school shootings. We're targeted with fake everything. Well, on the military bases, I think that they haven't been getting the treatment. They haven't been getting the systematic trauma. And this is the perfect thing that they need to radicalize them or motivate them, depending on how you look at it, to justify whatever they need to do, to justify the belief that they have in this, you know, terrorist threat, which again is a boogeyman. It's not real. OBL was a hoax. Okay, let's see. I'm just going through my notes. We're talking about the local recent hoaxes. Heard an interesting live stream. I don't know how much I want to talk about it. Heard Crow 777 and a few others bringing up some interesting, I guess you could call them, I guess it's medicinal things they do with coffee. And I did some research on it, and it's like nausea was one of the side effects. And I'm like, maybe that's why. Is that why Crow 777's seeing the lunar waves? Is it the coffee boofing? And I'm not making it up. I mean, they talked about it. They said it's a cure for everything. And I'm just like, I don't know. It looks a little shady. But I'm not into experiments like that. And I just find it strange that people on the internet, you know, are just so authoritative when it comes to these just really, I would say, quacky things. Like doing stuff with coffee other than drinking it. Oh, check this out. Speaking of Globe exit, there's a Chile military plane, 38 people on board, was on its way to Antarctica. It's a C-130 Hercules. Had 17 crew members, 21 passengers, 3 civilians. And they were heading out towards Antarctica, and they disappeared. They went missing. So, I don't know. They went over the ice wall. All right, Pensacola hit with a thing. We got that. Yesterday we talked about Owen Schroyer from InfoWars basically being a moron and getting arrested. I haven't checked to see what kind of fines he's going to face, but yeah, I hope there's something attached to that. I'll open phones up here in just a moment. There's a few other things. I've noticed that there's this new army of Gretas being raised up here. Women under 35 run Finland as world's youngest leader takes office. 12 ministers in the new cabinet are women, just 7 are men. Why does this matter? It's identity politics. That's all. An army of Gretas. Okay, Dallas Observer did a story on the Flat Earth Conference. That might be worth looking into really quick. I've been waiting for this. And also, this is some stuff from the flat side. There was a presentation at a school in Israel. This is from the Times of Israel. There was an outcry because students, teenagers, heard a flat Earth presentation. And I guess this is, like I said, it's like blasphemy. Even the atheists, they have their... Listen to this. Presentation at high school center described as charlatanism. The education ministry says this talk contradicts the principles of science. Outcry after teens hear flat earth presentation at Israeli school. So it says here, the teachers asked us, the graduates of the school, to enrich the program, so I offered content that was invited. The responses were amazing. After half an hour of a lecture, the students were ecstatic. So apparently the kids weren't too mad about it. They were told to enrich the program. Anyway, there was a presentation about it, and of course it triggers a lot of people for some reason. If it's such a bad idea, if it's such a dumb idea, why don't you just debunk it? And the best they can do is associate it with negative ideas, negative stereotypes. The only way they can really attack this idea of flat earth, because it's really innocuous, is to associate it with anti-vax, with racism. And that's what brings me to this. This is the Dallas Observer's piece, and they attended the conference. I didn't think they were going to. I remember reading that they were banned. I think last year they were actually told they weren't allowed to show up. But there's a few things in here that happened that I find interesting, and a few quotes. Like Owen Benjamin apparently called Neil deGrasse Tyson the N-word. I didn't catch that during the comedy. But I mean, it depends on how you want to look at it, I guess, because he explains why it's not offensive. So let's start here. So this is the Dallas Observer's piece, and he's attending the conference, and he says, I learned back in June that the conference would be in Dallas for the end of the year. So instead of writing a basic story about the conference, I took a step further. Basically, he goes on about how he decided to go in and take a look, and he participated in flat earth discussions. And he says, comments with direct messages and social media rained down on me. I was called a globecuck and a globehead. Oh, globecuck. See, that's interesting. Where did they get that from? The earth is flat, wrote one person on Facebook Messenger. Get over it. If you don't like it, too bad. So I guess this guy who wrote this piece has kind of been around some of the more aggressive, flat earthers. So he did write this piece. I remember he kind of said a few things, and he didn't really get a good response, and he was banned in advance. And so about that story from June, he says, it went viral in part to flat earth podcasts and YouTube shows with names like Globebusters and Strange World, which read the story and picked it apart, claiming they already debunked the science behind round Earth. Sargent read the entire piece on Strange World with co-host Karen Endicott and called it sad, and that I was uber programmed, and that if I went to the conference, she would flat smack me. Weiss offered me an invitation, and I felt like Globetards should have a presence there, so I attended. So he did go. He was invited. That's nice. He was given a little tour around, but this is the part that I found to be interesting. We're going to move down to the bottom because he sat through all the lectures. He listened to everything. Chris Pontius gets a nice quote in here. We know they're lying. I'm convinced they didn't go to the moon. And I'm convinced that that statement is great, but it doesn't go far enough. I think that we need to go further than saying they faked the moon landing, because that makes it sound like the sneaky Americans faked a moon landing to get over on the Russians and win the space race. And I think that's the wrong answer here. I think what we're really seeing is the moon landing is part of an operation that requires the participation of all the nations who are part of the space program, who are part of this universal vision with this space utopia. So I wouldn't just say the moon landing is fake, I would say the space race is fake. They didn't fake the moon landing to win the space race. That's the guardrail. That's the controlled opposition line. Sounds like you're fighting the system when you say they faked the moon landing. No, because if you follow it with, well, why did they fake it? To trick the Russians? Well, then you preserve everything else. No, they faked the moon landing and they faked the space race because there isn't really a competition between them to get up. There wasn't one. This is just a cover. They were working together from day one. Okay, so let's continue. We're talking about the conference. Okay, here we go. Globebusters is interviewed. Nodal says, economically, it makes a big difference. If you take the music industry and add the movie industry, add to that the video game industry, you're not even close to the space industry. People fail to realize how big it is. Well, it's not that massive, says the writer. At least on NASA's end, the Recording Industry Alliance put $9.8 billion in their income. The Washington Reporter says that the box office industry took in $41 billion. TechCrunch reported that the video game industry brought in $43 billion. So he's making a point that NASA's budget isn't really that gargantuan. And I wouldn't really say it is either. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but they're low budget productions, no doubt about it. And most of the money anyway is going towards environmentalism. That's like where 99% of it's going. And the rest of it's just fancy art. Okay, here we go. He's listening to these different conferences these different presentations at the conference. And he gets to the part where they explain how they arrived at it. So he goes on, Robbie Davidson, founder and organizer, says he came to it from a biblical mindset. This seems to be the foundation for Davidson and other attendees, that flat Earth is a flat plane encased in a dome like a giant snow globe. Davidson says there are no atheists on flat Earth. And then here you have alt-right comedian and newly converted flat earther Owen Benjamin performs, quote, comedy. He puts comedy in quotes. The guy's name is Danny Gallagher. That was when I was like, wait, the Bible says that? And Davidson says, if I'm going to call myself a literalist, you'd have to see it. Let's move on. More seminars about experiments. Waiting until the good part. There's a part down on here I thought was very interesting. Here we go. Flat Earthers have created their own collectible and artistic cultural community, and a chunk of their work was on sale at the convention. There's a genre of flat Earth music. There's a very bad rap that would make Macklemore cringe with lyrics such as, once you go flat, you won't go back. When Lance dropped his pants, there's no balls. Oh, that was that little rap bit. But what do you expect? I mean, it's not really rappers, they're just doing it for fun. But this is the part where I thought this was intriguing. He says, the conference had something, we'll call it entertainment. It featured a feature-length comedy skit. Oh, a scene from a feature-length comedy skit about a redneck stuntman, rocket scientist named Roland Reddy, who comes to the realization that we live on a flat Earth. Isn't that an interesting story? A rocket scientist finding out that the Earth is flat. Interesting story, right? Anyway, the stage is set up to resemble a game show called Leveled Out, and Mark Sargent is the host. With his trademark illuminated sunglasses, there are questions which seem to be setups for flat Earth celebrities like Weiss and Campanella. The sect even has their own comedian thanks to the conversion of alt-right comedy star Owen Benjamin. The piano-playing comic was kicked off Twitter for being too extreme. He says Hitler wasn't evil, didn't hate the Jews. Hitler wanted to clean Germany of its filth and parasites. He talks about how AIDS is a hoax and other bits. His act starts with standard jokes, and then he's saying, to rounds of cheers and applause, quote, that N-word stole my bike. He plays around with the keyboard, and over it he says, I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I stole Owen Benjamin's bike. So I don't know. Does that qualify? Did he call Neil deGrasse Tyson an N-word when he said, I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson and I stole Owen Benjamin's bike during the song An N-word Stole My Bike? I don't know, you tell me. I mean, I'm not really here to pick apart comedy. Owen, who is white, explains during the Q&A portion of his show that he doesn't call African American people the N-word. But he wanted to make a shocking point. And he said, getting upset is treating black people like children. He says, Bigfoot isn't real, but dogmen are. And here's a scene from the game show. Anyway, this is the guy, Gallagher, not a fan of this flat earth thing. He says he was exhausted after a couple of days. I don't know if he had a bad experience, really. It just, reading the piece, seems like he was a little confused, maybe bored. He hasn't given the idea much thought, that's for sure. I mean, but that's kind of like what you would expect somebody to arrive at if the only explanation you have are, well, because the Bible says, and then you got this comedian making racist jokes and saying nice things about Hitler. Like, what kind of impression would you think that would make? I've been waiting for that piece. I was just interested to see. The one that's probably going to be more in depth is the piece by the Daily Beast. I know that the person who's writing that piece happens to have a book. I don't know if it's going to be published in 2020. It should be. Okay, phones are open. I see someone was trying to call 505-510-4226. Just going through the news of the day, catching up. I've been very busy. Also, if you're on Patreon, I have a new thing here. MailChimp, which is the company that does all my mass emailings, they have a new feature where they automate the sending out of postcards. So basically, anyone who joins me on Patreon, you get one postcard a month. It's all automated. I don't need your address. I don't get it. It goes to, basically, you sign up, put in the address you want the postcard sent, and once a month on an automated system, it sends them out. I just change the art once a month. And so I'm going to send these penguins with wrenches. I have a whole collection of them, and I'm setting it up now, so anyone who wants to be on the Patreon list and get the postcard opt-in, just go to infiniteplainsociety.com. These are things I draw at 3 a.m. on my app. Okay, we're going to continue to go through the news feed. Phones are open if you have any comments on the fake shootings or on the flat earth and its proponents, or any of the above, or this, my new favorite crisis actress, baby eating lady. I don't know what we're going to call her. She deserves an award. I mean, we've given out the Golden Hoggy for people who, cry on camera or try to. We've given out the Golden Greta for people who engage in extreme climate alarmism and who can, cry over the weather, cry over plastic drinking straws. But this one needs an award all of its own. Maybe there's got to be another side to it. Maybe a duper's delight, some type of award enshrining somebody with the greatest display of duper's delight. I haven't seen anyone, show such just delight, mad delight at having duped people since Robbie Parker. Yeah, the Jonathan Swift thing about eating babies was kind of interesting too. That was about getting rid of the poor. And that is kind of fascinating, though, that she would have brought that point up, because even though the environmentalists claim to be fighting for the poor, and it's a cover for Marxism, which does pit the poor against the rich, it's the same class warfare, she makes a point here with her own pamphlet that the whole CO2 thing, the whole idea of a carbon footprint, this is all just getting people used to the idea that we need to go ahead and start reducing the population. It's actually very misanthropic. It's very much against man, anti-life. So I'm actually really proud that we have some principled crisis actors who aren't whores for the government, but who are doing it for the truth. This is the type of activity that I would endorse. But it's just parody. It was just art. Nobody got hurt. Like, she didn't get arrested like Owen Schroyer. She didn't get arrested, and she never even, revealed who she was. It just came out today. Okay, let's move on. I'll probably do some follow-ups on this one with the thing in the supermarket. Take a look at this. This is a meme I saw on Facebook today. I've made this point for some time that the concept of outer space is just a rebranding of heaven, and that the space program is basically Mystery Babylon, dressed up like science fiction, complete with obelisk worship. Gods and goddesses are all over the place in terms of the name, the lexicon, the ritual, the pageantry. It's all there. It's all just ritual theater. It's not real science. There's a point, once it goes out of your view and it's coming through a screen, it's going through a production studio, the movie side that they impose on the real, that's all actually religious pageantry. Even the ISS, the fake spacery, the fake space stuff, like the deep space images and all this stuff, that's religious art. This is religious art. And so, like the space shuttle going up to heaven, though, it echoes this notion of the Tower of Babylon, which united all nations under one tongue in a quest to go from Earth to the heavens. And that's what we have now with the space program, the International Space Program, and even the ISS, which in a way I've described the ISS is really a symbol for the Tower of Babylon. And of course, it's this story, the narrative, I think, the metascript that we're being told here is that what follows the unification of, all men, all the nations trying to reach heaven is the scattering. And I think that's what happens next. And yeah, the one tongue would be Google Translate, it'd be the internet. And so what I think happens is, I think that the Tower of Babylon is what we have now, all the nations rising up with the obelisk across the board, uniform, all embracing the universal church or the new universal faith, going after the same heaven, replacing the old heavens. And this is perfect because you can be a Christian, a Muslim, or an atheist. It doesn't matter. You're all going to outer space. You've all elected the same heaven, and this trumps all the other ones. So even places like in Iran, where traditionally they throw rocks at obelisks, they burn obelisks, they recognize them as symbols of Baal worship, which is pretty much what they're embracing now since their own government has given them a space program as of 2009. So what I'm saying here is that as the mission for outer space, this unifying vision, becomes the one thing that binds everyone, I think the part of the script is that once we're there, and we're just about there, I think then we have the space wars. I think then the Tower of Babylon falls. Maybe they'll take down the space station. It's been 33 years since the Challenger fell. And this is a topic we've brought up this year because we follow the meta-scripting on this channel. And that's what we're seeing. The space station representing the Tower of Babylon falling, perhaps as a pretext to war in space, which I think is the next 9/11. I think the next 9/11 is a space war event. So think about the last one. It was a competition or a war between visions of heaven, the Christian heaven or the Islamic heaven. Well, now the next one is competition over who dominates space, which I said is the new heaven. And that the question is it going to be dominated by, capitalism and freedom, or communism, eco-fascism, before we go up and inhabit space? And so I could see the Tower of Babylon falling, the internet, the scattering of tongues, the internet taking a hit. And then, of course, this being followed by, the order they impose after the chaos. But yeah, I'm predicting, more or less, just based on the scripting, that the space program is going to take a fall, and that space wars is the next phase that will bring us to where we go next. That's what I'm kind of guessing. I'm just bringing this up again to remind you that we still have our eyes on the space station. Like there is a pattern. There's no coincidences. If you follow these tragedies that they give us, whether it's the Challenger or the 3 guys burning on the launch pad 19 years earlier, and these things are not coincidental. It seems like 33 years since the Challenger, it seems like now would be probably, within their script, the time we would expect it to go down. We kind of, we've been sort of more or less calling it off and on in various dates. I was thinking 11/11 just because, but we'll see. But I want to point out too, when it happens and when I describe it, I'm doing so in full knowledge that it's just a movie, which isn't even controversial. I mean, if you say it's real, that you really believe there's a space station, you have a whole lot of explaining to do because the ESA footage, and this is what they don't want to talk about, they have given away the game with the smudge. That's all it took. And there's no explanation for it. You can't call it, dark matter or plankton. There is a shadow beneath the ISS on all of the ESA footage. And the fact is, the shadow was impossible. I debated with a NASA employee who pretends to be a regular guy on YouTube about this fact. And he said, nah, it's a smudge. A smudge? Well, we find the smudge every time the ESA goes live. You cannot have a shadow of a 747 size object 250 miles away. But it exists on the space station footage. I'll be right back. It's bigger than a city. I've never seen. This is Smudgegate. My entire city go black from the ISS passing over. I mean, I think that's a problem.
No, because that is not a shadow, nor is it on the Earth. That is a smudge. See, right there? Not a shadow, has a... That is a smudge, either on the lens itself, or on the glass that the camera is going through. It is a smudge. It is not a shadow. That is a smudge. It is a smudge. It is not a shadow. That is a smudge.
Hey, let me explain what I mean by Space 9/11. Okay, so Space Wars. If you look into the PNAC and the conversation that Bush, or rather Cheney and company, had, this whole project for the new American century, they talked about a new Pearl Harbor, a catalyzing event. Then we have our 9/11. And here's what I'm suggesting here. I'm suggesting that because they talked about this, certain nations wouldn't sign on the dotted line on the Outer Space Treaty with regards to the use of anti-satellite ballistics. So you have China shooting down a weather satellite. You have India doing the same, which puts orbital debris in the path of the space station. Russia has kamikaze satellites. China has satellites that can actually just, I guess, swallow things like a whale. So we have this stage set for a war in space, which would basically be this: the war over who's going to define outer space. And there's already a conflict, and the conflict is already scripted. It's already there in Netflix, in every bit of science fiction, in every projection over how Mars is going to be. Because if you haven't noticed, you're not going to have capitalism on Mars. It's a direct democracy at best. The best you could hope for would be essentially a communism, space communism. And so they're using this idealism of, oh, this is the way to live, this is sustainable, and we got to find a way to make this the norm down here on Earth. And the people on the space station say the same thing. We figured out a sustainable environment. We Americans drink recycled cosmonaut urine. We know how to do it. We print up our meat on 3D printers. This is how you need to live on Earth, as we do in space. In space, we don't see national boundaries. It's just one world. And one nation pollutes, it hurts everybody. One world order, one world ism. The entire idea of these guys up in space is to give NASA God's eye view. It's your priesthood. But right now, the problem is that you have the competing interests of who's going to dominate space, the commies or the capitalists. Like, there is a competition here because there's a conflict of interest. You have people like Jeff Bezos or Deep Space Industries, Elon Musk, all these various companies who are talking about mining asteroids. bringing down trillions of dollars of wealth. That's not going to sit too well with other countries who don't like our economic system, or it's not going to sit too well with the Gretas of the world, the environmentalists, the eco-fascists, who don't like the idea of a bunch of capitalists getting richer and buying more cars, buying more carbon footprints. So what they're doing here is they're making the moral case for the eradication of freedom insofar as it's not sustainable. And right now there's a TV show on Netflix I've been watching, which is part TV show, part documentary. Elon Musk is in it, and they're pretty much openly showing you in a movie how it's going to work, where the collectivist scientists who are completely on the left, they go to Mars and they're trying to find life. And then you have the capitalists who go up there to drill for oil on Mars. That's the story they show you. Well, the capitalists destroy themselves drilling, and they get sick because they release toxins from within the soil of Mars. But then the scientists, they do very well, and they realize, you know what? We can bring people from Earth over here, but we're not going to make Earth 2. And they decide that they're going to keep Mars primitive. They're going to terraform it, but then they're going to live in balance with Mars. They're not going to do what they did here. And this is kind of what they're doing to condition the populations of the world, that the way we're living now will kill us. It's going to kill us. Ask any political, any extremist on the left, or any true believer in this climate hysteria and alarmism. It has replaced the wrath of God for the people on the left who don't believe in God. The atheists believe that we're going to be destroyed in 10 years because of our actions here on earth, not our sin bringing about the wrath of God like those on the right believe, but our pollution bringing about the wrath of the globe itself, which is their God. So you have a contention now. We can't bring down trillions of dollars of wealth. It'll destabilize the economic systems. And we're all familiar with tree huggers. You can't go down to the Amazon and cut down the forests. So, they'll say, you got to save the trees, we'll chain ourselves to trees. Well, they're basically willing to sacrifice themselves to stop, big industry from just harvesting resources, raping Mother Earth. Well, Jeff Bezos was giving a talk. This is covered in Wired. He's at a university giving a talk, and he's talking about mining asteroids. And one of these environmentalist types gets out, and she says, "Stop raping the universe." As though she would put herself in a spacesuit and chain herself to a rock in space. But even that idea, they don't like it. And it's not like we're going to run out if the universe is infinite and there's an infinite abundance of rocks full of diamonds and gold and water or whatever. The public is so gullible. Some company's going to start Deep Space Industries is going to have bottled asteroid water or comet tail water, distilled from ice from the tail of a comet, harvested from space, distilled as it came down through the atmosphere. People will believe this stuff, unfortunately. But really, the case has been made that we cannot allow the resources out there to do to the earth more than it can take, because we've already basically drained the earth. This is not true, but this is what the environmentalists want you to think. Peak oil. Oh yeah, we already sucked all the blood out of the earth. So if we bring anything down here from above, it's just going to further destroy what we have. So Jeff Bezos has made the point that if you want freedom and liberty, you're going to have to go to space, because here on earth, in order to maintain a stasis, there's going to need to be a clampdown, an authoritarian style government. These are the billionaire technocrats, and you may not think what they say matters, but it does. It does. Think about this. If we find out tomorrow that there's an asteroid speeding towards the Earth that's, say, 242 feet long that could kill us all, and let's say it does happen. It does something so bad it blots out the sun and we have to get out of here. Well, there's only two people in the world that can save you. Humanity has two saviors, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. They're the only ones with the equipment to get us out of here. That's it. For man to travel, that's a sad fact. But you know what? I know it's fake, and you know it's fake. But this is how far they've taken the deception to where that is not even a ridiculous statement. Like people have actually accepted this ridiculous notion that the two richest men on earth happen to be the guys with the keys to heaven. That's why I call Elon Musk and Bezos, I call them popes. It's the new papacy, the new popes. And just like the old pope, they're always worshiping at the obelisk. You can find pictures of Bezos breaking champagne bottles, spraying champagne in front of an obelisk, just fertility rites. No different than the Pope, going out to St. Peter's Square and kneeling before his stone rocket obelisk. It's the same thing. Symbolism matters. Like, this is a fascinating thing that they've done where people who have left the church or left the whole idea as archaic, like, oh, I don't believe that God's going to judge us for our sins. There are no sins. Well, the same person will say, I believe in pollution. I believe in a carbon footprint. And I believe if we don't individually mitigate our footprints and recycle and beg the globe for forgiveness, because that's what you're doing when you recycle. You're basically saying, yeah, I admit I consumed, I participated in capitalism and worldly things, and I sinned against the globe, which the Pope now calls eco-sins, because sinning against the globe is sinning against God, because the Pope is part of the program here. He's part of the older version of this fear of God, fear of the sky. They replaced the sky deity with the space deity. But you're basically going to church and confessing every time you go to the dumpster and recycle. And it's the same God. The God of death and resurrection is the God of recycling. The green God, the vegetation God, Osiris. I mean, the Christians call him Jesus. But it's the same archetype and it's the same damn story. And it has to do with, of course, the death and rebirth of the Son. And this idea that you are doing a good deed by recycling. No, it's not a good deed any more than it's a good deed to go to church and tell some guy in a dress who's, behind a screen all of your deepest desires and all of your sins. All the things that you did that you'd be embarrassed for people to find out. Yeah, go tell that guy in a dark room and then give him some money. So you feel better. To get rid of the guilt because you pissed off the God that he works for. Like, it's ridiculous, right? Confession? Well, recycling is the same thing. You're fessing up to the fact that you consumed. Oh, you use some plastic drinking straws, plastic bottles. You know this is bad for the environment, yet you keep doing it. Why do you keep consuming these things? Well, you justify it because yeah, I can consume all this trash all week long, but on Sunday, I can take the trash out and put it in the recycling bin and separate it. And separating your trash into the recycling bins is the exact same thing as separating in your mind the actions that you took and the thoughts that you had so you could confess the ones that were wrong. So they have you separating your actions with your decisions, your consumer choices. And then, of course, feeling guilty. Feeling guilty. I saw some studies here where teenagers are vowing not to have kids because they don't want to damage the environment more than they already have. Like, this is a very toxic ideology. It's very misanthropic. And we've barely scratched the surface. It's highly irrational. And of course, we've seen them. We've seen their actions with the die-ins, which they do at the museums. They play dead, and they say this is what it's going to... They go to museums where dinosaurs are, and they play dead, and they say the human race is going to go extinct. They call themselves Extinction Rebellion. They tape themselves or glue themselves onto planes. They climb on top of subways, whatever they can. They climb on subway cars to try to stop commuters from going to work and feeding the beast. Look at this here. This is I think I have it here. There's a story here, though, where it's like the voluntary human extinction movement. If you've ever heard of the Church of Euthanasia, it was a Poe group, I think. So the Church of Euthanasia basically said, we believe in all of the climate alarmism, and therefore we can justify self-extermination for the human race. And they pretty much have this whole notion that there ought to be no more reproduction. whatsoever, and that in itself is the only sin in their church, the Church of Euthanasia. And that was from years ago. And like I said, it was just an exaggeration of how environmentalists really are. But they kind of made some really good points. Well, it's the same thing that happened with this baby eater, the one who says we need to start eating the babies. It's really the same idea here, where she's doing it as an exaggeration, but she's really not all that far off from the truth, because now you do have people actually taking it that seriously. And look, forced sterilization, no way. They won't have to force it, just like they won't have to forcefully grab anybody's guns. They'll use the indoctrination to make you gunophobic and to make you not want to have kids. Why would they need to use force to sterilize you when they can use the TV to make you think that reproduction is the worst thing you can do? And this is on CBS News. And look, NBC has a site where you can confess your eco sins, and people do it. People actually feel legitimately guilty. And that's how you know the programming works. You get the atheists to believe in sin again. And now the atheists are answering to the Pope in the sense that they're trying to avoid eco sins. Teens are pledging not to have kids until leaders take action on climate change. CBS News. It's really an adult decision that I'm having to make because my leaders are acting like children, says the creator of the pledge. And this is just straight up Marxism, where you have the kids or the new generation, the young against the old. You know, it's rich against poor, poor against the rich, and then of course gender is always going to be split. They have the gender wars, they have the race wars, and then of course this. And this is why you have Greta and David Hogg, and Greta was inspired by David Hogg according to her own interviews. But you have the teens who are now somehow lecturing us. And this again is part of the metascript which started with Parkland, where they started invoking the Children's Crusade. And the crusade was basically this. The kids who are too young to vote cannot vote away the things that are destroying their future, namely guns and pollution, guns and internal combustion engines. And again, all of this is nothing more than farcical, just agitprop, just in time for the election. All of this is just to make sure, even Greta, David Hogg, the shootings, it's to make sure that the individuals who are turning 18 vote Democrat in 2020. That's all it is. Right after the Parkland thing, the David Hogg and his acting troupe went on a tour where they would play dead in grocery stores. They called them die-ins. They played dead in grocery stores to just basically point at the shoppers and say, you did this. This is a reality. So die-ins, to me, are no different than fake shootings. But after these die-ins, then the Parkland group got on a tour bus, and they went, instead of going to summer vacation, they just started touring around the country. They went to 70 different high schools to get kids to register to vote. Okay, let's see what else we have here. I think we have covered most of what I wanted to cover. I'm going to go ahead and open phones again. But yeah, basically, the thing in New Jersey is totally fake. I just did my first take on it, but there's a whole lot more to go into. Wanted to look more into this Juice WRLD thing. I found something very interesting regarding I guess you would call it a seizure dance, or a dance move where they pretend like they're having a seizure. And I mean, it sounds really unusual. But there happens to be a movie about that exact same thing. And so I'm going to play that for you in just a second. And also, this is good timing. On Friday, there's a 243-foot asteroid that's going to have a possible collision. So Friday the 13th. Tell me this isn't just scripted BS. Friday the 13th, a 243-foot asteroid is going to possibly kill you. Well, they said that the one that's going to kill us in 2029 is going to hit us on a Friday the 13th. It's in April of 2029, Friday the 13th. We're going to be hit by an asteroid that they call Apophis 42999. So, what is it with Friday the 13th? Why is NASA giving us predictions that invoke superstition? Green Beak says, what is a fake shooting and how do I get involved in one? Well, it's a pseudo-news event. It's called propaganda. Like, let me give you an example, because I'm not sure if you're actually ignorant or if you're just playing. Do you know who Jesse Smollett is? He's the gay black actor from Empire who was lynched by a couple of guys with MAGA hats who poured bleach on him, and they called him a word that Owen Benjamin's very comfortable using. Well, it turns out, a day after, that it wasn't true. It was a fake lynching, and it was used to agitate the political base. It was used to agitate people on the left and the right, to bring up the specter of racism, to demonize Trump. It was used for all these things. So that's a fake lynching. Well, fake shootings are the same thing, but instead of a rope, there's a simunition, fake rounds. Oh, speaking of fake rounds, that shooting at the UPS truck, that was fake. But one of the lines that they're bringing up here is that these fake shootings these shootings in public with the police shooting the bad guy end up taking innocent lives. So they're also using these shootings now to make the police look bad. And I find that very interesting, because that's also more or less part of the communist program. Wild Wild West. Like, who wants a scene downtown to be like the Wild West? Like people in the streets shooting. They're trying to paint this up in a very negative way. For a reason. Now, I'm not sure what kind of rounds they use. Someone says magnesium. I don't know. I saw some paintball rounds that make sparks. Okay, check this out. Juice WRLD's eerie prediction. 7 News. So we brought this up right when it happened. How it was obviously fake and scripted. Camby called it out a week before he fake killed himself. That, hey, look, another deep faker called it out, and then boom, he fake dies. Very interesting story. He said 2 years ago in a tweet, he said, I'm going to be famous for a couple years. Then I'm going to fake kill myself. And look what he did. Or fake die. Okay, let me go ahead and open my phones. Just so you know, the first call of the night doesn't always get through. So if you're calling right now, you should hang up and call again. Okay, you got through. Okay, caller, what topic are you calling on? We've covered a number of things, from the fake shooting in Jersey to the fake death of Juice WRLD, and then, of course, the fake eco-fascist, or rather the deep faker who is pretending to advocate for eating babies. Oh, try calling again. Like I said, the first one always drops. But Juice WRLD's eerie prediction before his death, for those of you coincidence theorists. Hey, what's up, caller?
Yes, hello.
So, what topic are you calling on?
Juice WRLD.
Okay, so what's up with Juice WRLD that you've looked into so far?
Well, I mean, basically everything. I have drawn a new correlation. I found some different information. I mean, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I've done extensive research on the topic of Tekashi 6ix9ine, and in fact, he indeed did have a quarreling with Juice WRLD, and I do believe that this is somehow a repercussion, of this affiliation negatively with Tekashi, who was in federal custody. In combination with a myriad of other things could have been involved in these drug trafficking operation.
But what did you see? Did you see the whole thing with the Lucid Dream challenge?
Yes, I indeed am aware of this. This was intriguing, and I do believe this was roughly a week prior.
Yeah, trending a week prior was this thing called the Lucid Dream Challenge on the TikTok app, where his
Yeah,
fans were
TikTok.
pretending to have seizures, and then he dies of a seizure on video. Now, you don't believe this is real, do you? Do you think he's actually dead?
You know, I'm not sure because it's alleged he died at 3:03 a.m. But it said he was revived. Are you aware of this?
I didn't see anything of him being revived. I did see
Yes,
that.
yes, you have to read this article. I will put it in the chat after this conversation. But yes, absolutely, there is documentation of this. At least as far as the news articles are concerned, they point to this, 3-6 numerology, 666, and he also had this inversion, this 999, philosophy, the symbology.
Well, somebody
so
said there's a video that's 24 seconds long where he ritualistically sells his soul to the devil. 2 years ago, he predicted this would happen.
I covered this on my channel. Before anyone. Before this was pretty, even relevant. This ritualistic, symbolism, this fire, did look like some type of incantation. So immediately this startled me. I knew immediately that this was, a fabrication. Also G Herbo was there. I'm not sure if you're aware of this individual, G Herbo.
No, who is that?
He is affiliated with Lil Bibby, who signed Juice WRLD, in fact. So, this connection, draws back to that. In this video, I'm sure you're aware, he was the individual with the checkered clothing.
Okay, that's important there. The checkered, the black and the white.
Yeah,
and then
clearly
I heard
Masonic
that Juice
order.
WRLD's girlfriend has a square and compass tattooed on her shoulder. And did you come across Cam B's take on this?
I'm not sure who that is.
Okay, Cam B is the channel who came out with this a week before this guy supposedly died, and he said he believes that Juice WRLD is actually a deep faker, and that he's a character being portrayed by Lil Uzi Vert.
I'm going to have to just disagree with that.
Well, wait, before you disagree,
initially.
before you disagree,
I just finished watching.
Before you
unless
disagree,
there could be some type of 3D, holographics.
Well,
but at these festivals, these concerts, there's a myriad, just a plethora of footage.
Yeah, let me say
documenting
something. Let me
this,
say something really quick. It's a broad thing, okay? Okay. Anything that you see on TV that isn't real just because it's on TV. No, but let me finish. The mediated reality isn't just on the news TV. It's especially the celebrity stuff. And anything they can fake in the movies, they can fake on the stage. And if they're and the whole thing we're unveiling.
I've done this with Tupac Shakur.
Right. Well, are you aware that Tupac Shakur was just an actor pretending to be a gangster, or do you think he's a real gangster who faked his death?
I do think it was, Tupac's, poetry, being manifested, within his character.
I'm asking you, was he a gangster? Was he a gangster? Was his backstory?
It's documented that he was not a gangster.
Well, okay, that's what I'm asking.
What is a gangster? What are you referring to? What I'm asking a gangster?
Well, let me go ahead.
That's the question.
Let me go ahead and ask you. Let me go ahead and explain
if he adhered to this thug life philosophy, that he established,
listen, just a second.
Under those terms.
What I'm saying.
Sure, I'm sorry.
No, I'm trying to get a clear answer out of you, and I don't want you to give me those two contradictory answers. Okay, I'm asking you: was the person Tupac Shakur that the public is familiar with the real person, or was that a character played by an actor?
It was a character, definitely.
No. I'm asking you: was it a character played by an actor? Yes or no?
No, there's no yes or no. You're asking me two things.
I'm asking
You're asking me if he was an actor and a character. There's two separate things. You can act.
No.
And there's a character.
No. You have actors who have roles.
An actor is a person with a compartmentalized, ability.
No.
Look,
maybe you don't understand the lexicon here, but what I'm saying is, let's say you're a spy in another country and you have an assumed identity. You're not that person, right? So what I'm asking you, was this guy a CIA plant, or do you think he's a real artist who actually lived that life?
I don't believe he was a CIA plant.
That's what I wanted you to answer. That's what I wanted you to answer. You buy the story. That's all I need to know.
I don't know, because given his affiliation with the Black Panthers, in his lineage, Tupac Shakur was in position to really manifest, this destiny, this prophecy.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I got you. You buy the Metascript. You buy the Metascript with this one. Don't be
I
ashamed.
know, because I think he was eliminated, by the federal authorities. There's no question. He was opposition.
Look, there's a bigger picture
but simultaneously being utilized, in Hypermatrix.
Let's stick to Juice WRLD.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
what other examples of foreshadowing can you point to besides the tweet from 2 years ago and the lyrics where he said, "What's the 27 club? I won't make it to 21."
I mean, really, if you look at it, Juice WRLD was kind of inserted, into this archetype, really established by XXXTentacion.
No. That's the point too. So, what's his connection to XXX?
You're telling me this. So I'm giving you.
Yeah, because I noticed here when I first saw him, my first impression was
all the rappers are fulfilling, the same imagery.
Right. The imagery.
It's almost a demand, a requirement in this music industry now. There is definitely, more than any time in history, a definite mold, a definite, script for these artists. It's very homogenous.
So let me ask you a question. So, you don't think it's a stretch to admit that there is this phenomenon that we're describing as death faking, right? But do you draw the line where people play multiple roles even simultaneously? Is that a big stretch for you at this point?
No, absolutely not. I mean, you referenced Tupac Shakur. He was the prime example. He laid the foundation, essentially, for this inserted asset. I'm sure he was.
This would include the 27 Club. Like, I've been looking back, and I'm even starting to question some of these, like Buddy Holly, and it's not just within music industry, obviously, but political martyrs like the JFK.
Anyone who adheres to the oath is required to uphold themselves by the oath until death. So this is the crux I sit between, because I believe. Why would they even give you a chance to fake your death? You really have to take a leap of faith with these people, to evade all the authorities to establish a proper new identification.
That's not what we're talking about, though. Like, I'm not talking about legally faking one's death, like a witness protection thing. That's not what we're talking about. When we're talking about deep faking, we're talking about separating the world stage from reality.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay, so for example,
I mean, Tupac could have been, a hyper mask, body double, for all we know.
No, that's not really. We don't have to introduce anything new. All we're talking about is this pretty normal phenomenon of government plans being put in places of influence, both in politics, media, and in
obligation.
I don't know.
He fulfilled his obligation.
I don't know his backstory. All I know is
he pushed the agenda. This drug-infused, almost nihilistic perspective of life through music, through poetry.
So, based on his story, would you say that his death is going to be somehow chalked up to drug abuse because of the seizure?
Oh yes, it's going to be portrayed as that. To fulfill an agenda, maybe. A new trend for society to herd behind. Every event is exploited to its fullest. So yes, absolutely. You've seen with XXXTentacion, set the trend. His album sales increased, so it's almost in the formula for these artists, to die. Essentially.
Did you look into his connection between XXX and Little Jojo?
Oh yes, they're absolutely connected. I did see your work on this. I was very impressed.
Do you agree with me that it's the same guy? It's the same guy faked his death twice.
It's very peculiar and it's very intriguing. But I cannot say yes or no. I will leave it to speculation. But you did, make a good point.
Yeah, I find it interesting that some people. And you're right. You can't be 100%
but many people. In my theory, my studies, I found there is the general archetype for human beings, this doppelganger, phenomenon, this word even, existing in nomenclature, gives that, proves that, that there is some form of structure, some form of familiarity between all human beings and all races, some form of loose molding. So, Little Jojo, have you looked up his ethnicity at all?
No, actually, what I've looked into is this though.
Because they could be, of the same ethnicity.
They may be, but what I caught on this though was
giving-
the same narrative. There was a pattern that had to do with the person's death being used for specifically for law enforcement purposes. So, for example, Lil
Oh yes,
Jojo's
I mean
death is
Chief
followed
Keef
up with the-
established, really, this heat, this attention being, given
no, specifically
to
though,
this neighborhood in Chicago really set the mold for all the later platforms. These new rappers idolize.
No, but
these
it set
individuals that preach
no,
this
it set a precedent.
violence.
It set a precedent for the police there with this Operation Crew
Oh yes,
to go
yes,
in
because
and
it
start.
encourages individuals to get on camera and incriminate themselves with illegal firearms, and then release this publicly, which is public domain. So
It is.
the police also use that as a tactic, and that's why the music industry promotes this, to essentially make it easier for law enforcement. So I do believe Tekashi 6ix9ine, could be, at some level involved with this. The reason why, at least,
Well, look,
Juice
hey, look,
WRLD
really
was
quick here. Let me
being
run this by
looked
you.
at by the FBI,
So,
investigated.
if we look at the patterns here with these death fakers or their agendas,
Yes.
they're all more or less provocateurs. They push their listeners to do things that make them more malleable by the government or by the law enforcement, where because of Little JoJo's thing, Operation Crew Cut, now they're spying on social media. Then you follow it up here with XXX, and he ties into Helping Hand, which is basically an organization having to do with Parkland shooting and how do you prevent these things from happening, brings in mental health. So in both
Yes, which
instances,
this event never happened.
and check this out. I had this experience the other day where I got this ad between YouTube videos that seemed super targeted at me, and I think the people who are looking at conspiracy videos on YouTube are going to be targeted with mental health ads.
Yes, I mean that's a great point.
I already see it happening, and they're very specific. The ad that I heard yesterday, and it had no relevance to me, but it basically said, call this number and you can get a monthly injection and you'll stop seeing your parents as your enemy and you can cure your schizophrenia one injection at a time. That was an ad that I heard last night on YouTube, and I was like, what the hell?
Yes, and unfortunately, our society has been softened enough by these, global initiatives, these operations, to, basically accept this and read something like this as logic. And maybe 1 out of a million actually gets a shot, but still maybe the shot has some adverse effect that affects generations.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I mean, the thing is, I just find it unusual, but maybe that's just smart marketing. Maybe they know there's a certain amount of schizophrenics out
Or
there.
there's a T-shirt on the other end. It's all about the dollar, essentially.
About the what?
The dollar. Or a gain in some form. Social, economic.
Well, I think it's
But
all
yeah,
agenda.
Juice
I think
WRLD,
it's all
believe,
specifically. No,
is-
I think it's more than that. I think it's all specifically agenda driven, and it's timed specifically right now with the way they're clamping down on free speech on the
Yeah.
internet, and they're setting
are you
aside
familiar with
anybody who doesn't believe the news is considered to be mentally ill. So now they're targeting the non-mainstream takes on the news with advertisements saying, "Hey, you're mentally ill. Get a shot."
Oh, yes. I mean, absolutely. That's next to the re-education implementation is going to take effect. And if they can get one of you, that's good enough. They'll take out more eventually. But, it's all about reframing human consciousness, essentially. That's why, this hyper-focus on rappers, even if you hear the cadence of these rappers, it's almost like a lullaby. An infant would be soothed to sleep to this music, these melodies. I do believe they do have some esoteric meaning, viscerally, these frequencies. So these individuals like Lil Uzi Vert and Tekashi 6ix9ine utilize this to tap into this, I do believe. It's demonic in nature.
Demonic,
pushing
right?
that agenda, Yes.
So, what is your take on that? Are you a believer in that the elite or whatever are actually devil worshippers, or you think it's all imagery?
I do believe there are people who, adhere to the agenda of the Satanists that actually, don't care either way or don't believe either way, because it also does take some form of religious dogma, believing in it to
So, hey,
even
you said you had a channel.
believe
What
in
is your
Satan
channel about?
himself.
You said you had a channel?
Yes.
What is it called?
Well, the channel that I did the research with Tekashi 69 is located at DKE TV, and also I have a new channel. This is called CNN Hoax, where I, am taking a different angle.
Do you think that Tekashi and these others, do you think they actually go to prison, or do you think it's all staged?
It's absolutely staged. Tekashi, I've uncovered all of it. Tekashi, it really was really the mule for the federal agents. He was an inserted asset, from the beginning. A lot of people overlook the fact that he was, hemmed up with this case involving an underage girl, unfortunately. And, he seemed to get away with this and evade, clearly violating probation, while incurring another charge. So that should have been a violation right there, and he wasn't. So, you can go way deeper, but essentially Tekashi, it was the perfect plan. He infiltrated. He also set a social tone, a social agenda, again, invigorating and riling up these other rappers to, expose them. And I do think it was just an attempt to get a deeper hold into the streets. These police use unconventional means and always have, to get an edge. And I do believe they finally got their edge with Tekashi. But, to gain this level, there has to be some form of Masonic connection. His first album had this cover. He was sitting on a checkerboard, hearing the rainbow philosophy, this 2030 agenda. All these things, he was a perfect concoction injected into the hip-hop community, to serve.
Right. That's kind of what it looked like. And it's everywhere, too, though. It's all the genres, all the music. It's also the authors. It's the literature.
Oh, yes.
It's the books.
Whatever's popular, They're only utilizing hip-hop because it's fashionable now.
Did you check out, speaking of fashionable, did you check out the Mandela Effect movie?
No, I did not. I actually need to do that,
Are you
I
affected?
did see that.
Are you affected,
no,
as they say?
Absolutely not. No, I think it's absolutely ludicrous. That does play off this, deja vu, this phenomenon with the right and left hemispheres in the brain. So I do believe, there's much to be said. People, most people don't even realize something until you point attention at it. So maybe if you asked them 20 years ago, spell Chick-fil-A, they would spell it exactly how they spelled it today, but you never, called upon that physical recall. So it's playing off that, I believe.
Yeah, why would you need to? I mean, the thing is, consciousness, I think, tends to filter out more than, it's actually more of a filter than like a spotlight in the dark. Because if you were conscious of everything you experience, everything in your environment, you wouldn't be able to operate coherently. So a lot of stuff that is just kind of in a periphery, we may not have solid memories about. And then when somebody says Chick-fil-A or Chick-fil-A, depending on, how was it spelled, well, you can imagine it either way. And so if you emotionally just impress upon yourself, it was this way, you're not actually remembering it, you're learning it at that point, just like you would memorize a fact. And so they have you memorizing, thinking you're remembering. It's a clever trick, and I thought it was very insightful to look into the reverse engineering it. And now I'm just looking at it as, wow, people will follow crowds, groupthink, if it makes them feel better.
Yes, it's Edward Bernays, in full form. Living through society today, these individuals utilize the blueprint successfully. And, right now it's being utilized. And I do, let's say Juice WRLD is dead. I do offer my condolences to his family and those, who genuinely care about.
Before you go
yes,
on.
I do believe he should be dead, yes.
You believe he's dead?
I mean, this is where there's a possibility.
I was trying to get you to answer
this
earlier.
article
Yes,
said,
wait.
it
Yes
said
or
it would. Listen,
yeah, wait.
Cass,
Earlier,
please
I asked
explain.
you. Wait. I was trying to get you to answer yes or no unequivocally. No equivocation.
You cannot.
Do you believe he's dead? And you said you do.
I mean, according to witnesses, according to the consensus, yes,
Okay.
I do believe he's dead.
So you're
But with the
arguing. You're
possibility-
arguing
with
from
the
the
possibility
consensus.
that he is dead.
I have to
Let's
stop
say
you.
he is not dead.
Sorry.
Let's say he's not dead.
Every time
he was
I hear,
revived at 306.
every time I hear a logical fallacy, I really do have to stop you. You said the consensus says he's dead. Well, the consensus agrees with the mainstream news, and if you're making an argument from
You're making it
consensus,
seem that you cannot, understand two viewpoints.
no, I don't accept.
This is a very pigeonholed philosophy.
Wrong. You cannot equate.
Because I can understand,
you can't.
how it could be logical that he could be dead or not. Either way.
Wait, stop. You're saying that I can't tolerate two viewpoints. No, one of them is logical, one isn't. You made an argument from consensus. That's called ad populum. So, yeah, I understand ad populum. I reject it. It's wrong.
Okay, yes, absolutely. If that is indeed a logical fallacy, I concede to that.
So then you have to concede that you have no reason to believe he's dead except from that argument from authority, that argument from consensus. And that's the thing I'm talking about here. Auto-believers automatically believe what they see on TV and what the consensus agrees with, and it's a manufactured consensus. So if you don't see through that, then you're pretty much under the media spell. And I'm like, wow.
No, absolutely not. I'm fully awake, fully aware to the plot, the plan. So I do believe he is indeed faking his death. This could be the hoax, the scam to get him out of the way to, again, maybe undergo some form of reconstructive surgery or, play another role, as a ghost now.
Well, wait.
Similar
Hold
to
on.
Takashi.
Hold on. If Camby's right, and he was a deep fake in that he's being played by Lil Uzi Vert, he wouldn't need any reconstructive surgery. He just takes the mask off. But two, a minute ago you were offering condolences, and now he's saying he's dead. Like it's one or the other. But anyway,
well, it's utilized as trauma, social trauma. And now you have all
hey,
these
look, I got to change
young
topics.
children.
I've got to change topics. I got something else
yeah.
that came up. Check this out. This is a direct quote from Laura London, who's another person playing two roles. She is also
the Queen of England, or the Duchess.
No, China Hustle. But check this out. This is what she said.
Laura London is also.
Wait. Check this out. Laura London says she's giving a talk, right? Because she's doing a dedication to her deceased husband, and this is all according to the story. And she says, "I got a question. Only Lord knows. Does life birth us twice?" Does that sound enigmatic to you? Does life birth us twice? With reference to a guy we know to be a death faker?
Yes, absolutely. It gives it. They have to do this in order for the spell to take full effect. They have to say it. It has to be told.
Okay. Well, anyway,
or else the ritual will not manifest.
I'm just glad to hear that you don't think that Nipsey Hussle really died. I'm glad you didn't fall for that one.
Oh no, absolutely not. It was completely fake. They were doing CPR on him, on someone who was shot. You cannot do that. One of the main components of these events is clearly the medical protocol is broken. So that's how you identify a hoax immediately.
Oh yeah, the medical protocol is broken. Like, did you see the one today? Because I got this shooting in New Jersey that I'm covering, and one of the EMTs has got plastic fingernails, or these big fingernails on, that you could not wear rubber gloves with those fingernails on.
No, absolutely not. They're a clear actor. They're sloppy. These people are sloppy. They're human beings making illogical decisions. Someone is slipping along the way. And it's just proving that we're making headway. People like us are on the forefront of this reality, pushing society. People are listening. People are aware.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't think
uh,
so at all. In fact, I think it's the opposite. I think that the society isn't being led by forward thinkers. It's led by the 95 to 99% of believers who believe whatever they're told on TV, who trust arguments from consensus. It is not being led by the outliers. We're being ignored, muted, and censored.
Yes, absolutely. Clearly, people. We're being persecuted right now. We're being purged from the internet. You're suffering. Right now, I was trying to of your channel and find it, and your actual videos are blocked completely. You have to undergo a different search method. So I'm just astonished.
So what I'm saying is that, like, absolutely, there's no way we're changing minds. We're not waking people up. Quite the opposite. We don't have the numbers to influence it. If they pull another, like, look, there's a staged terror attack, people say it's true. And if your argument from authority or your argument from consensus is all you need to believe something, like everybody believes it, then you're pretty much part of the problem. There are too many believers.
So you're saying I'm part of the problem?
To the
because
extent.
I said to one ad populum.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, not you, but the people who espouse or who live by ad populum are the problem. The believers are the problem. The auto-believers in the media are just another form of fundamentalists, and they are the problem. If you believe
absolutely.
Greta's the problem, David Hogg is the problem, and to the extent that you agree with those two, you are the problem. Not you particularly, but in general.
Greta Thunberg is clearly an asset, clearly backed by George Soros, clearly just an inserted puppet.
Okay,
to get
a commenter,
the children to become unruly.
A commenter recognizes you.
Ego.
Lean Dion says, "Is this the 9/11 people died guy?"
Yes, it is. Okay, because people did die 9/11.
Okay. For some reason, that stood out to somebody that you hold that line. It's an interesting line to hold. I'll be honest with you; it's very interesting. And with the school shootings, are you of the opinion that those are real?
Oh no, completely false, completely fake. Where we got to see slaughtered bodies at Columbine. Where are the footages? Where are these pictorial evidence? Where does it exist? They're passing laws so that they don't have to show you.
Exactly.
It's a farce. We're living in a constructed reality from the year 2001 to now. 9/11 2001 was the pinnacle.
Well, here's the question. There's a dividing line here, though, like between how constructed is it? Is it like 80% constructed, or is it 100%? And people are afraid to go all the way.
It's 100%. We live in the Matrix.
Well, it's 100% they live in the Matrix. The people who are on the world stage are believers in it. The people who perpetrate it aren't in it. And those of us who are informed about it aren't in it. If you're not triggered by what you see on the TV, if you don't actually fear things falling from the sky, you don't fear the sky falling, climate change, you're not in the Matrix. And so it's a fear matrix, and it all depends on how much...
No, I mean, you are in the Matrix. We're in a physical Matrix. This reality is a Matrix.
Sure, I guess. I mean, as far as like simulation theory, I don't think so. But as far as if you buy it, to me, it's a religion, is what it is. It's a religious worldview.
Yes, life is a religion. Absolutely.
No.
Just adhering to
not life. I mean,
the standard.
No, I'm saying that the mainstreamed televised vision of the reality combined with the education that backs it, the news media and the culture, that's what I would call the Matrix. That's the construct.
Oh, yes.
That's where the fakery happens.
Another layer.
And so when I see someone like Juice WRLD dying, I'm like, okay, that's a character on a movie who died. Same thing with all these other
CIA asset. I'm sure he had military experience.
So when I say,
or I'm sure he was, a part of some program, at the hospital or something, some form of program, they'll get you.
But look, the program that we're talking about...
You wake up...
Listen, the program that we're talking about that would necessitate, like, let's say all the school shootings were fake, like we're saying, right?
They are.
Okay.
Everything is fake.
No, for that to happen, it means that all of the media is complicit. And that also includes with the law enforcement, with the fire departments, with the EMTs, right? So all of the agencies working together, DHS on down, Capstone Events, all the agencies working together to fake the school shootings were all working together when 9/11 happened, and yet you think that was real?
I mean, to some extent, yes, it was real. It absolutely was real. But there always has to be some dummies. You always have to have the infantry soldiers, the grunts, the ones who believe in the patriotism, who believe in the lie. Then you have the military leaders at the top, the ones who make the calls, who have more information. So you'll always have those people, ready and willing to, put out a fire. But they'll also, be giving instruction or, fulfill an order
Well, I don't
that
believe it, man.
just goes above
Look,
their head.
Look, I think it's crazy that you could actually assert that all the school shootings in the last 18 years have been fake, but 9/11 is real when it's the same media organizations presenting it. It's like saying, well, the Mars landing was real, but the moon landing was fake.
No, because I didn't say that. You're saying one argument. There's two topics you.
No,
just
you're
said.
defending the official version of 9/11, which is that it happened.
No, I mean not really.
Did it happen?
I don't believe so. The day, yes, 9/11, yes, it did happen.
See,
I woke up.
If an attack happened,
I attended school.
Did an attack happen? Was there
came home.
Was there a terror attack that day?
Yes.
So there you go. You believe it happened. That's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem saying that. I'm sure, but that doesn't mean that I can't.
School shootings didn't
also
happen?
believe
But
that
the school
shootings didn't happen. Yes,
they didn't happen.
You're using a homonym. Come on, dude.
No, I'm actually
Please.
asking you.
Yes,
for
you are,
consistency.
because you're saying it's this or that. That's ad hominem.
Why protect 9/11?
Or not ad hominem. That's a logical fallacy.
Why protect
saying
9/11?
this or that?
Why protect 9/11? What's your interest?
Because I believe, because conclusions that I came to through my research that I've conducted have led me to that assertion.
Then who did it? Who did it?
The school shootings, however.
Who did 9/11?
The guy. I mean, I'm sure it was perpetrated by people in the federal government. There's evidence all ways. It was an operation internationally.
Who did it?
Saudis were involved.
Okay, was it? So who did it though? Was it Islamic terrorism?
I'm sure, like I said earlier, there's always the dummies. The people who will believe in the jihad, the people who will execute the orders out of faith, and those who, give the orders.
So you're saying it was jihadis and who?
And probably other people who don't care about the lives of real jihadis.
Who? You said you researched it. I want to hear the results of your research.
Oh, the Saudi Arabian government.
So you say the Saudi Arabian government did 9/11. And so you believe it actually happened. Okay.
I mean, the Saudis, as well as assets in the government here. Larry, the person who owned the buildings, got a very nice insurance claim out of that.
Look, my view on it.
So
there
was definitely foreknowledge.
See, my view on it is this: every single fake event will have multiple whodunits that you can chase, multiple scapegoats, and you never come to a perfect answer where you can say it was that person. It's always a mess.
To exhaust all the efforts.
Yeah.
Before you reach the truth.
And the truth is that nobody died.
I beg to differ, but you
don't have an answer though. Look, man, I have an answer. Nobody died. It was done.
Yes,
by
I do.
the
There are
media.
3,000 names I can look up now and give you. I can read them all to you.
Right. Well, you could also do your due diligence and look at the metadata behind the pictures and find out how many of them are fake. You can tell me with SSDI.
By you saying, just according to a normal debate structure, by you saying that I just want you to clarify, that no one died as a result of anything that occurred in Manhattan on 9/11.
People don't die on movie sets. People didn't die during the filming of Mission
Impossible.
Nobody died during the filming of Mission Impossible 6. Nobody died during the filming of...
Did anyone die on the filming of 9/11?
Nobody dies on Kill Bill, Quentin Tarantino films. Nobody dies.
Did anyone die? I'm not asking. Those are movies. We're not talking about a movie. We're talking about an event.
We're talking about a movie, and nobody died.
Oh, because there were people... Okay, so you don't believe the Twin Towers ever existed? Because they're gone.
Yeah, they are gone, but they weren't filled up with people.
Okay, so what happened?
Controlled demolition coinciding with a media presentation to make you think there was a big terror attack that will never
Why
be
would
solved.
they control? Why would they go at that length to control the demolition?
Because it was staged to coincide with a movie presentation to make people go to war. Because the oligarchs use the media.
But if they didn't care about the lives of, if they cared about the lives of the individuals, they're not killing, as you say. You've claimed this before. That these people do, care about the lives of these individuals. That's why they don't kill them. If you go by that, your own words.
They're using propaganda to control us, and that's a propaganda film. You don't kill people during the
Absolutely,
making.
yes, but
why would you kill somebody during the making of a movie? That makes no sense. Why?
For fun.
No, that doesn't make sense. For fun, why would you turn
That's a subjective claim? We're talking about objective evidence.
Why would you
really not?
Why would you turn a legal propaganda act?
Why would you put the toilet paper upside down?
No, this is a valid question. Why would you take a legal propaganda?
Why would you put the toilet paper upside down?
I'm going to have to mute you. You do not take a legal propaganda act and murder people, which turns it into a war crime and gives you whistleblowers, and it makes a lot of people potentially liable. All you do is you hire actors.
If I'm the business owner and I steal money, does it matter?
Wait a minute. Just a few minutes ago, you said nobody died at the school shootings. And so now I have to ask you, well, what about the evil people? Why would they care if kids died?
Because it's less mess. They can just fake the event at a school that never existed.
They can fake the event in towers that weren't actually
more
full.
cost effective.
Yep, 9/11 is the same thing.
Sure. I was not there. I don't know.
Exactly.
I saw it on television.
You saw
I'm
it
going
on
back
television,
consensus.
which is not a source.
Okay. So what the video of the shadow on the moon, is that a source? Is that not a source? Who has this video? Who created it? Who uploaded it? Who rendered it?
The shadow on the moon?
Yes, the evidence that the ISS.
Oh, you mean the yeah, exactly. That the little
So if you cannot go by video evidence, then
You can't.
how can you make a claim against something that is invalid in the first place?
It's a very good question. You shouldn't. That's where we're at right now, though. We're at a point where the technology
Yeah.
that they use to propaganda
Yeah,
is so
you have an
sophisticated that
answer.
the masses are visually illiterate to what the oligarchs are saying and presenting. Just as if you had an illiterate population, you could use language as a tool for enslavement. Well, guess what? The 99% of the people are visually illiterate and they don't know when they're seeing fakery, and it's the same problem.
Yes, I mean I don't agree with about 99%, but
Yeah, well, look, if people don't know that they're seeing a fake meteor on TV, they're going to believe it's real. And if they're able to fabricate it and maybe even throw stuff up into the skies and make it look like there's some type of fallout, people won't know it's not fake. Same with a nuke. I think they could simulate a nuke in Seattle.
well, I'm sure nuclear. There's a lot of evidence to contradict even the existence of this technology in the first place.
Now, how would they keep that a secret? Because people say there's no way they faked 9/11 because there'd be too many people who would tell the secret. Well, how did they fake the existence of, or how do they maintain the illusion of the nukes being real? Wouldn't someone have said it was fake by now?
No, because of how compartmentalized these agencies are, similar to NASA.
Exactly. The media is hyper compartmentalized, and the reporters on the ground have no idea. And the general public didn't even know during 9/11 about the variations of crisis actors. And one more thing.
Hello?
Yeah, it looks like. I'm sorry, is the phone breaking up? I think the phone call is dropping.
Hello?
Sorry
Hello?
about that. Feel free to call back.
Yes, yes, I hear you.
Oh, damn. 505-510-4226. So, look, this is an interesting conversation, but I think we've gone as far as we can with it. And it's basically this. There's an important distinction to be made between psyops and false flags. And he was positing a false flag. He was saying, yeah, the attack was real. And this is where it gets so contradictory. The attack was real, but it wasn't who they said it was in the news. It was the Saudis. Well, wait a minute. I thought you trusted the news, and now you're saying you don't agree. Now you agree with this other version. So what you have there is a false flag theory. False flag theories were used about 9/11 in order to keep people from talking about it being fake. That's what they've been doing. False flag theories hide the fakery. And so if you're promulgating a false flag, you're actually helping the mass media because you're concealing its involvement and you're concealing its true role from the people who are being targeted by it. The media is waging psywar on us. So anytime you protect one of its assets, one of its myths, one of its stories, you're actually working for them. And I always question people like that. I'm very interested to know why you would protect that particular story. Why stand by that one, but say all the other ones are fake? Very, very interesting. Because it's the same agencies. That's why I said, it'd be like saying you don't believe the moon landing was possible, the space station's fake, but you're going to believe it when they go to Mars. Well, no, you can't. It's the same lying agencies. It's not like the media was totally honest and trustworthy, and then after 9/11, when the school shooting started happening, they started doing psyops. No way. So here's the thing. There's the existence of psychological operations, and there's the false flag theories. No one has ever proven a false flag. No one has ever proven it to be real. Just endless theorizing. Yet, psychological operations are exposed all the time. So anybody pushing false flag theories is an agent or a stooge to that extent. And I don't mean it in a bad way. I'm not trying to say, something. I'm just saying, look, you're doing Anderson Cooper's work for him. You're doing Megyn Kelly's work for him. You're helping the PSYOP industrial complex by saying these things are real when they're not. And again, what that does is it hides the role of the media. Much like the term fake news. The term fake news as a meme has been used for some time to make people think that political bias was the extent of the problem. And it's not political bias. It's fabrication. Hold on. Infinite Plate Society. We have another delay here.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks Clouds Behind the Sun for the lemons. Hey, what's up, caller? I'm sorry for the ringer.
Nah, you good.
You hear this nonsense? This is Google for you.
No, I mean, probably, bro, like someone's probably, like, hacking.
I don't know. I might have to get a different phone service. This is insane. But anyway.
Didn't they do that shit before?
Yeah, it does
like
it.
It just kept, like, ringing and shit?
Yeah, it does it a few times. And I don't know if it's just me or if it happens to everyone, but.
Nah, bro, I don't know about that shit. But anyway, bro, yo, Juice WRLD, though, bro. Fuck, yo, I can't believe this shit. Like.
Okay, did you see the music? No, there's a video out there. It's a movie, actually, about this rapper who has a seizure on stage because he smokes something a little too strong. And it creates a dance movement. So the whole movie's about this guy's dance movement where he basically did a seizure on stage. And then you have this guy doing his lucid dream challenge where you fake a seizure and then he dies of a seizure on TV or whatever. So staged.
Yeah, but they said like blood was coming out of his mouth and shit too, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Juice?
Yeah. And then of course.
Yeah. So what? And they like, how do they get these details and shit? You know, like that's just crazy to me.
Oh yeah, well it's all just
clearly it was something going on. You know, like I don't know. Like I love Juice WRLD. I've listened to Juice WRLD like since forever, since he came out, pretty much.
Did you read his tweet from 2 years ago where he said he was going to be famous for 2 years? This was in 2017. And then
yeah. He said, he was like I'm gonna, like he was gonna fake his death or some shit like that. I don't know. That's why I called. That's how I found you.
Yeah, he literally just said, I'm gonna fake my own death in 2 years. And I'm like, well, okay, if you had 2 years to plan,
I think X did that too. You think X did that?
Yeah, definitely. Did you watch his video, Sad? He kind of gave away the game.
Oh, yeah, the casket and shit.
Yep.
Right?
Yep, exactly.
He
dedicates it to Prince X, which is a reference to Machiavelli,
yeah.
Faker. Then his manager announces it. His manager's name is Solomon. Solomon's the guy in the Masonic ritual that takes the person out of the casket. So the symbolism was there. He told the story, the meta script.
It's like some Sumerian shit, like.
Yeah, I look at it like this. These guys have a script that they follow just like actors do in a movie. Only their movie lasts their entire musical career, or for however that character is going to last.
Yeah.
And I think that not only did he fake his death, I think he faked his death, and that he did previously. I think that he also.
What do you think about like I heard they found like 70 pounds of bud and shit, like weed.
I didn't hear about that. Go on. Tell me about that.
Like gas. You didn't hear about that? Oh my god, that's like. I mean, that was kind of crazy because like first they started saying like he could he just died or something like that, like he overdosed. But like later, they found out like he just like ate a bunch of pills and shit because they were raiding him.
That's what I heard actually, and that's what I'm thinking, because if you look at the way that they're doing the
bro,
dance,
he had like 70 pounds of gas, like bro, I'm a PGA, bro, like.
See, the thing is, I'm saying though, like I think it's staged to look like that happened, and that's the story that we're given.
I mean, like for real, bro. I mean, like shit. Could be.
That's what they did with Jim Morrison. You know, that's what they do with a lot of these drug overdoses. Chris Farley, Jim Belushi, all over the place. It's easy to fake an overdose death. It's an easy escape, and he wouldn't be the only one. And I think
you know what I'm saying? And like they're taking all his money and shit from like, Lucid Dreams, that song, man. Sting.
Oh yeah, Lucid Dreams.
Got him, bro. Got him for that.
They did, and that Lucid Dream challenge was them
So
acting out the death
it goes
before.
with it, you know. It goes with it, kind of. You know, he's trying to get bread. You know, he's down. You know, so it goes. It makes it. You're right. It makes it like it seemed like he really be doing it, like drug dealing. You know.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing is,
Cover story.
yeah, I think it's a good cover story. They give you a backstory, so when you dig, it takes a few minutes. You have to investigate and
You know what I'm
find
saying?
out. There'll be documentaries. There'll be stories.
You guys should check the Uzi though.
Okay, what do you think about that? You think it's the same guy? Did you hear that?
I don't know. I heard you guys talking about that.
Okay, so yeah, here's the thing about that one.
Do you really think like? I mean, I think Juice WRLD is like taller than Uzi though. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Someone hit me up and they said there's like
clearly
a 6 or 7 inch height difference or something. It's a big difference. So that would be a deal breaker. I'm not 100% on it, but the fact is, if you look into this whole procedure of deep faking, they will lie about someone's height both ways so that the characters are as far apart as they can be.
Oh shit! So like, if you Google them or something, like it's the same. Like,
I'll have to Google it, but like for example, if I'm 5'7" and I'm gonna play another role, I might say I'm 5'6" and my other role is 5'9", right? So that I have some leeway both ways, but if you compare the two, they're like 4 inches apart instead of just the same height. So a lot of it can just be.
I mean, they probably got like boosters and shit, like something, like an illusion or something.
Easy. I mean, they got things that they put in the mouth for the teeth. They got masks that go over the entire head, give you new ears and hair, foolproof masks, just like they use in Hollywood. And we're finding a lot of these musicians are using these things and playing multiple roles. And these things are foolproof. You cannot see through them unless you know what you're looking at. And even then, it's hard to tell. Is it makeup? Is it special? Is it Is it Botox?
Or bro, I mean, like, you know, it really could just be like shape shifting. You know?
Well, you know, I think the theories about shape-shifting were planted by people like David Icke who work for the intelligence agencies, and I think they put shape-shifting out there. So if anybody sees a mask,
is that David Icke?
Yeah, David Icke. I think that. See, I believe that he put the story out about shape-shifting.
Bro, that motherfucker's crazy, bro. He tried running for president in like the UK. He said he's like God. You ever see that?
Oh yeah, he said he was. He said he was.
Bro, he said he's God. He said he's everything.
Yep. Well, he was.
No, saying he knows the truth.
He says that
this motherfucker don't know. I'm sorry, I swear. It's my bad.
No, I don't care, man.
He doesn't know the truth.
No, I mean we don't care about that anymore. It's like censorship's not a thing. We're not on YouTube, but you know, you're right though. He came out crazy on purpose, and he started saying, "I'm seeing reptilian shapeshifters," and I think they put that story out there so any of us who see a mask slipping will think it's a shapeshifter instead of saying, "Hey, why is this guy wearing a mask?"
Yeah, like. Yeah, something like that. These people, like, I don't know, they could do anything, man. So, but I don't know. Yeah, they found like 70 pounds of weed. You know, I mean, I'm sure, but I don't know. Something weird about it. Like, I really think like, they could have killed him.
It could be possible, but when I look at the fact that he predicted it in advance, it's in his lyrics, and that his fans are doing like a mocking dance of him dying before it happens.
Yeah, you're probably right, bro. He probably want to, get his money and, get out.
Unless you're suggesting that mockery came in advance and then they killed him that way, which would be kind of gruesome, but that could be a possibility too.
Yeah, but bro, you're saying Lil Uzi is Juice WRLD?
Well, I'm not saying it. Someone suggested that and a week before
Juice
WRLD dies,
oh.
the guys. Well, I'll show you the video. Or the channel is Cam B, and he's suggesting that Lil Uzi is wearing a mask of some kind, a very subtle mask, maybe teeth. But you got to do a side by side. You got to look at the teeth. I don't know if the height discrepancy is that huge, but he's saying that they killed off one of his characters, and both of them are playing out in Los Angeles next week, or were scheduled to. But
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You know, Lil Uzi, he's like with the Satan shit.
is he?
Right.
I didn't know that, but I did see that Juice World did sell his soul to the devil in that little 24-second clip. I mean, it's like a
Wait, what?
Did someone was showing me?
No, what?
Yeah, let me bring this up. Juice World. I think it was just a joke, or a music video, not a music.
Bro, I think it was a joke, bro.
Well, it would have been a
Bro,
joke.
I
but
hope not, bro. Juice WRLD, I love Juice WRLD, bro. Like,
we'll see.
bro.
I'm gonna look into this, but I'm just interested in this part.
Man.
In his lyrics, he said, "What's the 27 Club? I won't make it to 21." And the
I'm
27.
21, yeah.
And the 27 Club's just like the Die Young Club. With that.
I'm like the best 21.
Now, do you know about the Die Young Club with Roddy Ricch?
And he said he's like Demon Youth. Like Demon Youth, bro. Like, he said it. He's
Interesting.
telling you, man. Like, you know?
Oh, I see. Somebody said Lil Uzi Vert said Quick is Lucifer.
Yes. And also, bro, like, he's putting the Uzi to the sky, bro. God, he's killing God.
Interesting.
It goes deep, bro. Like, you gotta, I don't know, man. Like, that's what I love rap music, bro. But now it's getting creepy, bro. I grew up, I was Christian. I'm Christian, bro. Like, I believe in Jesus Christ. And, I can't support it, but, it's just so good. Like, I don't know. He just really speaks to me. But I don't know, the Satan stuff creeps me out, man. So, like, I don't know. He could have killed himself, bro. I don't know. He could have just said, hey, I don't want to go to the feds,
Well, there's something here. This is really interesting. So Juice World 999, and you know what the symbolism, they do reverse this stuff. Like the meteor that they say is going to kill us in 10 years, it's number 42999. Yeah, Apophis 999 is what it is.
I mean, and Juice WRLD, that wasn't his name, though. Before, You know that, right?
No, yeah.
He had a different name before the record label changed it.
What was it before?
I'm not sure, but you can Google it.
We'll look into it because
someone Google it. Someone Google it in the chat. Google it in the chat.
Someone in the chat Google it. Yeah, look at this here. Juice WRLD, Illuminati Sacrifice Conspiracy Theory of Satanic Pact in Music. And so there's an image here of him hanging out in front of a cross, it looks like. But yeah, there was some theory that he made a pact with the devil. And you hear a lot of these theories preceding death fakers. It's very common. They leave you with these explanations for what they really did. The hints are there. So in this case, there's definitely some kind of hinting at it, at something dark or creepy about it.
Oh yeah. Like, what do you think about Post Malone?
Post Malone? Man, that one's an interesting one. There's someone. Okay, he's 30. Is he the one who's 33? No, he's younger. It's the other guy's 33. Post Malone is believed to have a dual identity. He's believed to have another character he plays, but
He's gotta be, man. He's gotta be. Well, I think he's Johnny Cash, bro.
Nice.
He's
okay.
Wait, what?
Johnny Cash is in. Go on.
I mean, like, I think he's reincarnated Johnny Cash, bro.
I hadn't heard that before. Where'd you get that from?
I mean, you don't see it?
No, I got something here. Juice's girlfriend.
Oh, Bob Dylan, my bad. Bob Dylan, bro. Bob Dylan, my bad, bro. Bob Dylan, bro. He's Bob Dylan, bro.
I'll look into it.
You didn't see that?
I haven't seen it, but check
Google
this one.
Google it.
I'll Google it. Juice's girlfriend, Lottie, has a tattoo on her torso of the Masonic square and compass.
What's that?
The symbol of the Masons. The thing with the
Freemason?
Yeah, the Mason. She has the Masonic symbol on her torso.
Oh shit!
And
shit.
And that may mean
something.
something.
It could be a sacrifice for her, man.
We know every Mason fakes his death. That's what they do. They die and they're reborn in a coffin. That's their main thing. Hey, somebody said Bob Dylan's still alive.
Exactly.
But hey, I think you might be right on something here.
He's a double.
you're right about this character here. There may be something in it. I'm gonna look deeper into this little rabbit trail here. Did he sign a deal with the devil? That's being brought
Yeah.
out.
I mean, they tried killing him and shit, bro. They tried killing him too. Under the jet. So I don't, I think they get Juice too. But I love Juice though. I'm just so upset, bro. It's like, but it makes me sad because like all these little kids and shit. I mean, kids killed themselves after X died.
Now listen to this. Heavily influenced rapper Juice WRLD, dead at 21, claims his parents were Satan worshippers and were sending him telepathic messages.
No way, bro.
That's in Loudwire. I hadn't heard that before.
When is that?
This is in Loudwire. I'm pulling this article up now because I'm doing
When though? When?
This story came out 2 days ago.
Oh my God. Before he died?
Yeah, it says here, this is from TMZ. Okay, so he did an interview. And in the interview, he discussed some of these things. Very interesting stuff coming out right now. And again, people are going to say he predicted his death. I'm saying that it was scripted, and I'm actually not convinced he's dead. I think he's alive.
Oh, like Tupac or some shit.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's very widespread. I don't think that these guys die. I mean, rarely, but for the most part, the ones that are heavily publicized, if you see it in the news media, if it's predicted in the lyrics, if it's predicted...
Yo, bro, what do you think about Adam 22, bro?
Adam 22. Don't know who that is. Maybe someone in the chat does. Who is that?
I don't know. He was like, he's an interviewer. He's like a podcast guy.
Oh, okay.
All like hip hop. He's like friends with Juice WRLD and shit.
Oh, that's.
I don't know. He said some crazy. I don't know. You should watch some shit.
Okay, yeah, because see, I've noticed that there's these interviewers who are, associated with these individuals who are usually in on it. Like, if
Adam 22.
There's no way that
he is the first person to interview X, bro.
See, there you go.
He's the person to interview X, Lil Peep, all these people, bro. He's like the one, bro.
Makes sense.
If you look him up, bro, like
that's a huge
and those
thing,
are the
man.
biggest interviews, man.
Yep, those big interviews are where they give you the backstory.
He's a ringleader, and you know what his last name is?
What's that?
Grand Mason.
Damn, that's interesting. Grand Mason ringleader. I mean, like X's.
Look it up.
X's
Adam Grand Mason.
That's good. That's a good lead there. X's manager named Solomon.
You know me?
Same thing. Yeah, you're onto something here.
Solomon's Temple.
Yeah. Oh, well,
bro, I read the Bible, man. Like
Solomon's Temple, and okay, check this out. The video's sad. I mentioned when the Masons pulled out of the coffin, it's Solomon that does it. King Solomon's the one who resurrects you. So for his manager to be named Solomon, and in his video he's in this coffin, it's very symbolic. And then here you go, Grand Mason, very symbolic. The interviewers are like the ones who give you the backstory, and they're the ones who create the character in the minds of the people who are listening.
Yeah, for real. Like, bro, like, yeah, because they ask them the questions and stuff. They get them to say shit. I mean, it's crazy, bro. So wait, so what's Infinite Plane though?
Infinite Plane, it's this. If the world is not a ball, doesn't mean that there is like an edge. And the physicists say that the universe is infinite, but that it's flat. They say that it's basically flat.
Yeah, so why is the world,
So I'm saying, like, let's say...
Why is the world not infinite then,
That's what I'm saying. I believe we might be on an infinite Earth. If it's not a ball, I have no reason to think it doesn't go on eternally. Just land and water, land and water, land and water. But I don't know. I have to go to find out. We have to see, but that's one of the...
They won't even let you in Antarctica and shit. I think it's like flat Earth shit or something like.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Flat Earth, like.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Flat Earth Society believe that we're inside of a dome and we can't leave, which I don't think is true. They think there's a wall of ice and you can't get out. So I started this thing, Infinite Plane Society, to contradict that. To say, hey, look, if it's not a ball, there might be more land. We shouldn't rule that out.
Yeah, 'cause like, what if there is some more land, bro? And like, why can't I get some? Like, you know?
Exactly. If there's more land, why are we having war?
Why am I sitting here, bro? Like starving and shit, you know, out here. Like everybody, like, bro, the people out here like starving, like stupid, can't read.
Yep.
And we're in America. It's the greatest country on the planet. That's what they say.
And so if we're fighting and stuff over this limited resources, and it turns out there's
That's why Juice WRLD the guy sell drugs, you know, like.
Oh, yes, it is. And that's the reason why I like calling out the fake news and stuff, because of the whole world.
Oh, I mean, like Jeffrey Epstein and shit, bro. Like, dude, like, bro, Jeffrey Epstein, he's not dead.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, I think they say it in the memes, and the public just buys whatever they hear if it comes from trusted sources. But
yeah, you know, bro, you know Wendy Williams was like a training, right, or something, like, bro, like you see a seizure, she had like a seizure or something, like, see that?
I didn't see that one.
Bro, you gotta look it up. Google it, bro. Google it.
I will, and if I don't, someone else here will.
Bro, she has like an MK Ultra shit, like meltdown, like, bro, on live TV, bro. Like total glitch, bro. Like real time. I was like, whoa, like, but she's definitely like, I don't know. Something about her is crazy too. Like, all these people, bro, are crazy. Like they could be all fake.
Yeah,
they could be dead and using the skin.
Well, anything they can fake in the movies, they can fake on TV, and that's the sad thing is that when people see it in the movies, they know it's a movie, but then they see it on the TV screen, and they're blurring those lines all the time to where even the fake shootings are made to look like action movies these days.
Yeah, bro, I seen Trayvon Martin's mom is Trayvon Martin, bro. You see that shit?
No, but
bro, you gotta check his channel out, bro. This channel, I just saw it. I think it's brand new or something. Okay. I don't even know the name of it. See, bro, he got like all these people, bro. It's crazy, bro.
When that one
he
happened,
he said Juice WRLD's Uzi, bro.
He did? Okay, that channel. See, I thought the Trayvon Martin thing was real, and I look back at it now, and someone's saying, "Hey, Nate, look, Trayvon Martin is actually a fictional construct based off pictures of his own brother." And so they're saying,
I mean, Adam Lanza. Adam Lanza's not even. He's like 10 people probably. He's probably not even a real person.
Adam Lanza, I could be the picture
Photoshop program, bro.
It looks photoshopped as hell. It doesn't look like a real person. But have you seen the comparison of Adam Lanza to David Hogg? No joke.
I mean, it's the same shit. They have to put the same motherfuckers in there, bro. Like that's how they do it. And you know his dad's CIA too. You know that, right?
Yeah, I heard about his dad being connected. I didn't know.
The fuck you get out of here, bro. Get the fuck out of here with that shit, bro. We already know what's up, bro. Your dad's with it, bro.
Well, check
You've
this.
been trained, bro, and he wants to go to school for journalism, bro. You got to be kidding me, bro.
Right. That's right. No, his dad was FBI.
Your school's getting shot up, and oh, I'm gonna make a blog. Today's my day. I can shine. Oh my god.
Yes,
bro.
That's
come
what
on,
happened.
bro.
That's what happened. He gets off on his bike. He bikes 3 miles away, and he films it. And next thing you know, he's like talking to, the Congress and everything. Yeah,
talking to Anderson Cooper, who's a fucking bitch ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro.
Man, I'm glad you see through that shit because it's so obvious, and that's the stuff they use to move the masses into accepting a bunch of BS.
Yeah, and you're crazy for thinking that.
Yep.
Like something is different. Like I don't know. Like
man, that guy, the David Hogg, he shadow banned me. He banned me on Twitter. He blocked me. I mean, I don't
because you don't. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't him. I'm sure it was someone like
his mom,
like his management or something.
Yep,
like
exactly. I knew it too, but I'm like, man, look at this. You got these actors who are then turned into real people through social media, and they influence the political discourse. We got to call them out.
I mean, like that's the only way, bro. Like same shit. Like, bro, all these people out here like doing this stuff, and get away with it.
I know.
Like
it's amazing, and the more we called out, the more they censor us. They censor us, and they call us crazy, and they call us terrorists for noticing it.
Yes, I mean basically. Now it's like, bro, you can't even be Christian. I can't even practice my own religion, bro, without being persecuted.
Yeah, pretty much. They want you to accept fear of globe and global warming over the fear of God. They want your fear of man's misuse of the environment and the consequences to be greater than your fear of man's sin.
Why is it my problem that we got 10 different kinds of solo cups, bro?
Exactly. Why is it on you to recycle it?
Why is it my problem that there's no place to put the trash, bro? Why is it my problem that when I give it to waste management, that it goes to some other country, bro?
You nailed it, because you're caught in the middle of a Hegelian dialectic where they create the problem and they give you the solution. And you're like, I didn't want your problem. I didn't need all this stuff. But they give it to you, so you have to deal with their solution.
Bro, I saw this shit. It was crazy, bro. It was this beach in like Nigeria or something, like Sierra Leone, something like that. Bro, it's like 5 miles long, it's all garbage. Bro, I said, if I had $1 billion, that would be done one day, bro. One day. Knock it out. I get people who get it done. One day. But who's going to do it?
Exactly.
If you do it, once you do it, now the government's hating on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Now the government, because you embarrass them.
There's no money in solutions, and you're right. They want the problem to continue. That's why when the climate change data says the world isn't getting hotter, they didn't hang up their hats and say, "Hey, we fixed
that's
it."
That's just a joke, bro. That's a joke, bro.
Yep.
How long we've recorded this shit, bro? 200 years? The job of weatherman's new, bro. These people get fed information, bro. They know the Earth's flat.
Well, you're right about this, that they have been only keeping track of weather data so long. It's way too new for them to be making these massive, like, social changes. Like, we got to all stop eating meat.
Bro, this dumbass bitch, Greta Thunberg?
Yep, Greta Thunberg.
Bro, that girl was telling me that, I got this little girl telling me that I can't, like, I don't know, get a plastic bag or some shit, bro. I can't drink a straw, or else I'm gonna die. Hey,
and like, you ruined her future. You took away her dreams.
It's my fault, bitch. Excuse you. Sit down for a second, but you gotta understand, like, I don't know who let her up there, bro. Like,
well,
why they want us to see it?
Because you're not allowed to criticize it without looking like a bully. Because if some grown-up came out and said that shit, you would say, get out of here. You'd call him a fascist. So they let a little girl do it because you can't. It's a human shield is what it is. It's a political human shield. And people fall for it.
But her parents can be, like, arrested. Like, they didn't call, like, CPS or some shit, bro, in Sweden.
Damn, that's good. Call CPS on Greta's parents.
Hashtag CPS.
Yeah, I'm down with that. I'm writing that down, man. We're going to do that. We're going to have to call CPS on... That's child abuse. They're terrorizing her. They put her in a rowboat and sent her across the Pacific.
Right, bro? Like, what? I want to do it. This is... But, at the same time, bro, like, okay, how many people did they pay to get... to use that... that whole boat's made out of petroleum-based plastics, bro.
Damn, good point. Good point. That carbon footprint, that's more than one plane ticket.
First, you gotta understand that every product that is made of plastic. Clothing is even integrated with these synthetic fibers that come from petroleum products. Paint, literally any type of plastic derivative comes from oil. So you can't do anything without oil.
That's a very good point. So her political posturing took a bigger toll on the environment than just taking a plane, when she went on the boat across the ocean.
Yeah, because you're going out of your way to, use more energy when there's already energy being wasted. You might as well just hop on and ride with it. It doesn't make sense. Why would I use all this effort to do this? I mean, it's all a political point,
Yeah, you're right. It was like a pilgrimage to the UN.
But it can be, destructive.
She could easily. Yeah, she could have Skyped. They didn't have to do that. And so that this shows you it's all posturing, it's all virtue signaling.
Bro, you're sitting in front of grown people telling them Imagine, I'd be laughing my ass off, man. I would laugh. I'm sure some people probably had to hold back laughter. Like, bro, you got a little girl telling you you're gonna die if you're drinking out of a plastic cup, bro. Why is there like all these different Starbucks, bro?
And
why do we got so many Starbucks? Well, we don't need so many Starbucks, bro. Why is it McDonald's everywhere, bro? We don't need so many McDonald's everywhere. If McDonald's is so bad for you, why is it everywhere?
You make some really good you make some really good points here, and it's just common sense and logic. And they use the emotional appeal of a child who says her future's been destroyed, and she said she was motivated to become an activist by David Hogg. But they put these kids out there, so you can't say don't tell.
But Greta's probably like Greta's her brother, bro. Like, I'm sure they're like cousins or something, bro. Like.
Yeah, you know
Google it.
Okay, when I first saw Greta, my first impression was it's David Hogg with a big braid. That's what I said. And I was right. It turns out it's the same narrative, same story. Children's Crusade.
Oh, yeah, I mean, bro, once they get the kids, bro, it's like, Hitler said that shit, bro. He's like, yo, bro, you get the kids, bro, it's over, bro. Or like it was like Stalin or something.
No,
like
you're
that,
right.
bro.
Hitler, right. You're right. He said that. He's like, what do we care what the parents think if we have the kids? And they have the
That's
kids.
why he had the Hitler Youth.
Yep, exactly. David Hogg, the gun-grabbing kids.
Whole script, bro.
Yep, you nailed it. Absolutely.
Wait, what about David Hogg?
Well, David Hogg, the fact that he's the son of like a very rich person, rich kids leading a revolution.
Why have we never seen his daddy? Where's his daddy?
Exactly.
Where's the interview with his daddy?
Hogg's parents and Greta's parents are elitists.
He's telling me that I can't exercise my constitutional right. And where's his dad?
And his mom. His dad and his mom are in the background, and they put him and his sister in front of this thing because it's just the same thing with Greta. The parents hide behind these kids as human shields, and they use them as puppets.
Because you go after a little kid, like someone's gonna be like, "Yo, bro, chill the fuck out." So they're giving these kids a position, a platform to basically, make an argument for adults.
Did you see the
to
article?
Convince adults.
Yeah, earlier I posted this article where these teen activists are saying that they're not going to have kids until the adults take action on climate change. That they're going to stop having babies to save the planet.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's this movement of kids or of teenagers who are saying we're not going to have babies unless our parents take action on the climate.
Oh, bro, I mean that's like straight up like Agenda 2030, bro.
100%. That's exactly it. Where
they don't want kids, bro. It's population reduction, bro.
Yep, they don't have to sterilize them. They brainwash them.
Why do you think that? Yeah, exactly, bro. Why do you think they got people thinking they want to be gay and shit, bro? There's no reason Young Thug got to wear a skirt, bro. These people are forced in slavery by these record labels, man.
Well, what they're figuring out here is that instead of
I'm telling you, bro, I've been inside it.
Well, right, you're trying to get the influencers to influence the people, and that's what I'm saying these deep fakers are, these agents are. Their jobs are you put them in a demographic, and you say, okay, this is going to influence a kid's ages, this is the age that's going to listen to you. They give them the lyrics to influence the culture in very targeted ways. And the agenda is definitely Agenda 2030, and it's throughout the rock music, the rap music, the movies, and the education.
Oh, yeah, bro.
And so you, from within the music industry, you say it's pretty much the same thing. A lot of
I had a piece of paper in front of me, bro, with like 17 formulas, bro. Said, all right, dude, you want to rap like this? You can get this bag. You want to rap like this? You could hit, metro, suburban, Asians in New York City. Like, bro, they got it all to a science, bro. Like, they could give you the keys to ultimate success. Why do you think they make the same songs, bro? Same keys. It goes back to like the ancient Egypt philosophies, melodic, shit like these the Asian frequencies and shit. Like, bro, they know. why do you think all they invested money in this shit? You know, back in the day, bro. I mean, like the studios cost millions of dollars for tape, bro. Back in the day, tape. They're using tape and shit, bro. These machines to do one function that you could do with the click of a button now is, you know, crazy. But they work so well, you know, so they understood the frequencies and shit, bro. They had so much time to sit there in the studio and put it together and understand that when you do this, this happens, bro. They got a booklet, bro.
That's an important key to this whole thing. You're right. They have the operating system for the human mind.
They gonna see this shit.
Great points. Great points. It's scary if you think about it. Well, it is scary. We are thinking about it. Like, yeah, you're right. It's micro-target marketing for the purpose of social influence. It's the most high-tech propaganda ever devised, and it's working wonders.
Yeah, I mean, for real, bro. Like, it's crazy. So if they have that, like, technology for the music shit just to get a song, you know, imagine what they got for everything else.
Well, I've noticed here that before election years, they often have political like icons who are killed, and it's usually fake deaths, like Isaac Cappy, Andrew Breitbart. I can name a few, and it's the same thing. Where just like they can fake kill a rapper and get fans to rush out and buy a record, they can fake kill a political activist and get voters to go vote because they think that this guy's a martyr. So they create these things in the political arena as well.
Oh yeah, but I mean, when it comes to elections and shit, anything goes, bro. I mean, Rock the Vote, MTV, like, it's all tool. People, they don't get it, though, you know? Like, I really think that, I don't know, man. Like, the more I dig into it, it's just crazier that, you know, I don't even want to know sometimes.
Well,
that's too much, you know? Like,
there is a lot, but on the top, on the main thing I take away from it is that despite all the stuff we're revealing or finding out to be fake or contrived, we do know that the things they tell us to fear are largely manufactured in order to keep us dumb and ignorant and enslaved. But like, hey, there's no reason to fear climate change. Don't have to take Greta seriously. Don't have to fear David Hogg's vision of the world, because that's also fake. Terrorism's mostly fake. So, you know, it's like stress.
It's all fake, man. Like, but you really think? You really think? I mean, what happened to Al Qaeda?
Yeah, they gave him a new paint job. I think they called him ISIS after that.
What happened to that, though, bro? Where's that been at?
I think Al Qaeda is much like it is with the neo-Nazis.
Now it's white people, bro. Now they're coming to white people, bro. They're telling white people, like, yo, it's your time now.
Yep.
For some reason. So my whole thing is, if you know, everyone says that, you know, the power structure of all these people are, you know, white, then why would white people tell white people, you know, why would white people want bad for white people? So who's really in control?
Yeah, when I look at this, I think what it is that the oligarchs, the elite who are leading all nations of all races, are basically putting all the different tribes against each other. It's the perpetual war. So we always have world war in the sense of the psychological war. And I think that they use these different groups. Like, so they have terror attacks to make white people fear Muslims. They have school shootings to make liberals fear right-wingers and to make everybody fear the mentally ill. Every group has its bad guys, has its scapegoats.
But they want my guns and shit, bro.
Well, they know they can't go
bro,
take the guns.
You really think? I'm gonna tell you something right now. You really think any country is about to come to America where there's more guns than people? It's not gonna be good for anyone.
No, it's unwinnable, and then you create resistance. It's unwinnable. So they realize
there's no other country on the planet, bro.
Exactly.
Outside.
And that's why they do the fake shootings here all the time, because they realize there's too many guns.
That's the key.
We gotta get them. We gotta train the kids to not want them. Train the next generation.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's the whole agenda.
There's no demand. There's no market.
Exactly.
I mean, which unfortunately is the case. I mean, that's good, I think. You know, maybe we don't need so many guns. But why are you coming after, like, just the whole, like, reason to have a gun? You know? That's scary to me. What are they getting ready for? You know, you ever hear about the Walmart?
Which one?
I mean, the baby, bro. The baby, bro. All right, I mean, the baby, like, shot some dude in Walmart. And basically, you know, got away with it. I think it was a psyop, bro. Like, it had to have been a psyop because, like, you know, Walmart's always with the psyop, bro. Martial law backwards, bro. It's
Yeah.
Walmart, bro.
Yeah, Walmart's playing into it big time. They're
Bro, they
definitely
got tunnels and shit. They got tunnels, bro, everywhere. So, you know, I think that's the anti-gun agenda shit. You know, the baby, because he killed someone in the Walmart. So, yeah, he got away with it. But at the same time, like, I'm sure, like, Walmart stepped their game up. You know? It's about problem reaction solution. Something like that.
100%. That's it. Because when that Walmart shooting happened in El Paso,
they want you to hate the guns, bro. Like,
yep.
But that's your freedom.
Well, because they're aiming at your property rights, and they can't take your property, i.e., your money and your stuff you own, if you can defend it. And once they take your guns, well, there's no defense. And so they're arguing against property rights, money, and guns to the youth.
Yeah.
And they say screw the people above 30 or above 25 or whatever, because you're not going to change them because they're in love with these things. But if you can brainwash
they're
them,
gonna die, bro. We're all gonna die. So it's like, fuck it.
Exactly. And David Hogg said that. He said, I don't care what the NRA thinks. I'm going to outlive them, is what he said.
Yeah, cause, bro, they don't give a shit, bro. These kids are cold, bro. Bro, you gotta understand, bro. It's like hyper reality. Like, it's like total nano code. Like, I don't even know. It's wild right now. Like, these kids, they don't even respect anyone. So they can't wait to get in position, bro. Like, they don't care. They'll get rid of the Constitution. They're gonna get rid of it, bro. I'm telling you, I watched some people on YouTube. I screen recorded it. I don't know. There's people talking about like convention or something. Like, these are like right wingers talking about how like they're like Trump talking about a third term and shit. You hear about that?
Yeah, I've seen talk like that, and you're totally right about the
Obama said that too, but like, I think Trump, bro, he could like. I mean, you gotta think about it. The majority of the country is white people, bro. So like, when it comes down to it, if like white people get to a point where they really feel just threatened, just as a whole, which is not even real, you know, I don't even believe that. I don't believe that at all. You know, but if it did happen, like everyone would start killing white people and it's just start getting crazy, well, fuck, bro. They might vote Trump for a third term. I don't know. So I think Trump, bro, is a puppet, bro.
You're right. And as a puppet, they will be used to agitate. And I'm interested to see how far they can really push it. You know, I do see there is a rise among the far right wing where it's actually become acceptable discourse.
Well, those are the ones, bro, who want freedom, bro. Those are the only people who really stick to the Constitution and care. You know, but it's not even race related. Like,
no, but
you really think all these people in these bad neighborhoods who legally own firearms that you really think they want to give it away, even if you tell them it's safe? Fuck no.
No way. No way.
So why should you take that away from them? You know, someone defending their family from like someone breaking in their house, something like that. If someone's gonna break into their house, they'll probably shoot you too, or they'll probably get a gun illegally. And, you know, it's a common argument, you know, but, you know, it's not happening.
Well, okay, so in the last two
Telling
shooting
you
of
that.
so in the last week we had a couple of psyops. One was there was a police chase and they shot up a UPS vehicle that had a hostage, and they killed a couple innocent bystanders. And then in New Jersey today or yesterday now, they had a shooting where a bystander was hit. And I think these events are fakes, and I think that they're trying to introduce the public to the idea that not even the police can stop gun violence and that guns won't stop guns, that we need to get rid of guns altogether. Like they're really trying to get people accustomed to the idea that we're eventually going to have to just let go of
Bro, I can't
guns.
even buy a box of bullets without getting looked at like I'm a shooter.
Oh, right. I mean, look, you're right about that. They want to make it look like very suspect that you even want to defend yourself. They really have. They've taken away the moral high ground of the gun owners. They blame you for the school shootings that happen. That you accept gun culture
Yeah.
and that you're like, oh, it's an acceptable loss to lose a school classroom once a year. They make it look like that. And I'm saying nobody's getting shot in these schools. They're just trying to demonize people like you.
Yeah. Like, and I'm never giving it up. So they'll have to come get it. You know, but anyway, bro, Juice WRLD, like, I don't know. Wait, so is that all you talk about? Is just like flat earth and shit?
No, not really. We talk about the staged world, which encompasses the celebrity actors, the political fakery, the fake deaths, the fake weather control, or rather climate change, and the fake stuff that happens with the space
Oh,
programs.
like chemtrails and shit?
Yeah, all the stuff.
Chemtrails?
Yeah, we talk about all this stuff, and chemtrails is a topic I've looked into, which
No way.
I've looked into it. I don't necessarily believe that chemtrails are poisoning us. I think it's kind of something else. But yeah,
No, I don't think that, bro. Bro, they're spraying like a neocarbon up there, bro. It's gonna ionize the mesosphere or some shit.
And what do you think
And
they're
then they're
doing?
gonna project the image, bro. Project Bluebeam, bro.
Okay, Project Bluebeam. And so, yesterday in Los Angeles, there was like a sighting of
You ever
of UFOs. Like 100 people that
Bluebeam?
saw it.
Bro, that's like OG shit, bro. That's like original shit, bro. That's like the blueprint, bro.
Yeah, I've read about it. The blueprint is you would make the
The
sky
blue
into.
green is the blueprint, bro.
So
Hello?
yeah, sorry. So you have like a projector in the sky, right, or a projection screen?
Yep. Yep.
So what do you think they'll
Yeah,
project? Do
you
you
got a
think?
projection screen, I mean, they're gonna project every prophet that is geographically like relevant to that region, with a supercomputer. So basically, like, over, or they might even do it telepathically, because at this point the chemtrails, they're in our bodies now. So, they've been spraying the particulates and shit, like, so they're already in our bodies. All they gotta do is activate it, bro. Switch. But you gotta get into the frequency resonance, and you gotta get into a lot of shit, bro. Music, bro. Like, music. That's why they use music, bro. Because it's a spell. It casts a spell. I'm saying it's a spiritual force.
This is intriguing.
Like, music is a
So
spiritual force, and all music is physical resonance. So you can see the test, bro. They've done it with sand, like the geometric figures, bro. Like, if they play certain frequencies and then combining them, the chords, what they do, and the connection with colors, and just vibration in general. You know what I mean? So if we've inhaled all these particulates and shit, like, and they're in our bodies in trace amounts, they crank that shit up, bro. It's gonna get crazy.
So, like in the Middle East, they'll see Allah,
We get all,
and like, what would they be projecting?
Yes,
Like
yes.
Man, that's interesting
I'm
because
telling you what's up. The one world order, bro. The one world shit, bro. Like, telling you that this is what it is now. It's the new commandments now.
this is what I've been wondering too. I've been wondering, like, if they do this Project Bluebeam style,
It's gonna be so real that you won't even question it.
and even if I do,
I'm telling you.
I'll be in the minority. I'll be one of the few questioners.
Hell yeah, motherfucker, you're gonna be crazy, bro. And I'm gonna be crazy because I'm never believing that shit. If that shit happens, I'm not believing it.
That's why.
I don't even believe in aliens, bro. But aliens are fake, bro. Like, all that shit is fake, bro. Like,
Yep, exactly. They are. Aliens are fake,
bro, they're
and
gonna start making alien movies and shit to, like,
Well, what was the
like
first
NASA and
the
shit.
first science
They probably
fiction?
put all the money in the budget for these movies and shit. Star Trek probably was funded by NASA.
You're probably right about that because they tell the same stories and they're leading people to these conclusions with the science fiction. And I think you're right. And what I'm wondering is when they pull off the big staged UFO invasion, who knows what kind of special effects they'll have, but will they be able to keep the people who question it from being heard? And I think so, because if they do a UFO invasion, obviously EMP. Obviously, they'll shut down the internet. They'll have these special effects up there, and the gullible.
I mean, yeah, bro. Like they got power fish, bro.
Yeah, I think so too.
Bro, they gotta have computers and shit, bro. They just turn the computer off remotely from anywhere in the country, bro. Everything's on the internet, bro. You gotta understand. You gotta understand, bro. You don't understand. I mean, did you guys talk about like the supercomputer?
Yeah.
And CERN?
Yeah. I see what you're going
Bro,
with this.
CERN, bro, where?
Well, I mean, basically, that they could, Internet of Things wise, they could basically, we're talking about not only projecting things, but also interacting with the people at the level of the individual through maybe elf waves.
Yo, yes, bro. I mean, the military already has shit, bro. They can, with frequency, like I said, pinpoint a specific frequency to burn you. It's basically just a sine wave, and it's like an antenna, like a dish, like a dish. It's like a dish network dish, but military big, and it has just a perfect frequency that it won't like burn lower than like your epidermis or something like that. Like there's like the first layer of skin. It won't. It's like a tenth of a millimeter or something like that. Like scientifically, and it'll make you feel like you're burning, but it won't hurt you like physically. It'll just make you barely feel like you're burning, just enough to where it actually won't burn you, but you feel like you're burning, but it doesn't cause cellular damage. You look it up, Google it.
I've heard about that. In fact, I've seen testing. In fact, you know what? I know someone who may have experienced something similar to that. I remember when it first came out. This discussion.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, they're putting depression. The 5G. You ever heard of 5G?
Depression, you said? Like they could actually cause depression?
I'm sure, bro. They just fucking flip a switch, bro. It's just flip a switch, bro. And will make everyone depressed. Why do you think we got all these shooters and shit, bro? School shooters and stuff, bro. I'm telling you, man. People are going crazy right now, bro. And it's not just them, bro. The whole world is going crazy for some reason, bro. These 5G towers and shit. They're putting towers everywhere, man. I live right next to a tower, bro.
Now, what's worse for you, though? See, I wonder, though, what's worse for you? 5G towers or fear of 5G towers? A lot of people fear it, but I'm more like it's about the media influences that I really see as the real threat here. Like, they don't have to zap you with a tower if the culture they give you through the tower causes you to...
Just triangulate a frequency, man, from, like, just barely enough to affect you over a long period of time, and then, like a week goes by, and you're like, damn, bro, like, I just feel weird.
Fascinating.
Like, YouTube it, bro. Like, there's tons of shit about it. It's crazy, bro. There's so many people who get cancer. Like, there's one lady, I think she won the case, but they had to, like, close it off or some shit after they won. Something crazy. Or maybe she never won. But it was in California, like Stanford or some shit, bro. Shoot, her son died of leukemia. I don't know, it was weird, like brain cancer. And then, thankfully,
earlier
she investigated into it and found out that people in that same dorm room, like, for everyone who stayed in that dorm room for like 20 years, like, all had cancer at some point in their life, that specific brain cancer. And no one had ever researched that before. So I think she won, actually.
Okay, earlier you were talking about, like,
That shit kills you, bro. They're killing us, bro. Soft kill, bro.
Earlier you were talking about micro-marketing in the music industry. How they target people at that level, with, very specific messaging. What do you think about the use of music, like to cause people in their head to, maybe even, I don't know, for example,
Demon Young,
depression.
Daniels, bro.
Yeah.
Juice WRLD's telling us to kill ourselves, bro. Well, fuck, get out of here, bro. What do you mean, bro?
Exactly.
So telling me to pop pills. They're telling me to listen to Future and drink hydrocodone. They're telling me to smoke marijuana in copious amounts, which I do believe is, beneficial, but, you should not, idolize these things. These things are not good. And, I'm not one to judge. But
right, but no, I
at
see
least,
but like I'm saying here,
save the children.
because you see the agenda here, right? Well, they have these musicians who plant these ideas, and I'm like last night I was looking at music videos, and then I get targeted with an ad for mental patients saying, "Are you mentally ill? Are you having a hard time?"
What kind of music do you like?
Well, last night I was listening to actually I was listening to Juice WRLD. I was just scrolling through music, and that was one of the ads that I got, and I was like, "Wait, are people listening to Juice WRLD being hit with ads for medications?" And I didn't know they could advertise medications on YouTube like that, like targeted. Like that's crazy in itself.
Yeah, bro. I mean, of course. That's what they need to. They want you on drugs, bro. They need you on drugs, bro. They're putting shit in the drugs, bro. I'm telling you, bro. But they're gonna flip a switch, bro. They're gonna flip a switch, bro. It's gonna be like Project Bluebeam, bro. They're about to flip a switch, bro. It's about to get crazy. They're gonna flip a switch, and all the Ambien that you've been taking, and all these little weird pills and shit, these little vitamins and minerals, they're all traced with it, bro. They got nanotechnology in it, bro. You gotta do some research, bro. Bro, they got nanotechnology, bro, in everything, bro. Like, they're not even gonna have scanners anymore in the future because there's not gonna be a nanobot ready to, scan it out, and it's already built in from the factory, traced, fucking factory doorstep, bro.
You may be right.
Amazon's already doing it. They want, and now we're seeing in like Tesla. They even like, bro, you like drive their shit. They don't even. It's like connected to Wi-Fi somehow, bro, and like they get data from you to teach the AI. So one day you're not even gonna drive, bro. They're gonna tell you, like, use a different road, bro. That's how the same shit with the guns and shit, bro. Like, it's just they'll chip away at it so it doesn't matter anymore.
You know what? They'll
take away a lane, take away a lane, take away a lane. Human drivers only. This lane. While the good roads are for the AI. Or you can drive a little bit, but it's enough.
Makes sense.
Then,
I thought about that. How are they going to coerce people out of driving, which has been like a very distinctly American thing? Well, one thing
because they're going to make it so cheap that it doesn't matter. There's already a company doing it. And there's already this dude. He's like a really, I don't know. Yeah, he's a kind of like controversial guy, but like he made this like rival technology to not rival, I guess, but like it's just basically like an automated driving technology. He's like the second competitor, but he boasts to have like the most like testing done, the actual road time testing of any company so far. So he claims his is the best, and they're doing that shit with fucking every type of car that you can imagine. Not fucking Benzes, not this shit. They're doing it with a Dodge Neon from 1990, something crazy shit. It was like a certain year. But they're going to analyze all the data from every kind of car, how it drives with different drivers. Slowly over time. Building a database. Simultaneously having a visual database in real time. Collecting data. Just so basically, just with that alone, that capability is insane. So you're going to get pushed off the road, Eventually. It's coming, bro. They're coming for everything, bro. Like,
what?
And you can't have a gun that's going to have a nanobot in it.
With this real-time monitoring of everything, there is something that came of it. I remember a few years ago they were talking about how what they would do is they would basically take a lot of this footage of various people who in the subway, this was like in London, who had mugged people. They would take that footage and they would just basically have the AI learn, what are the indications that somebody's going to commit a crime, and that they would use this to use the security system to integrate it so that they would be able to predict people who fit the pattern of somebody who might be doing something wrong later in the day. So pre-crime. And it would work. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, bro, Minority Report, that, bro, that shit's real, bro. What the fuck do you mean, bro? I mean, dude, it's how they get us, bro. They tell us about it.
Yep, Minority Report is already there, and even
Tom Cruise, bro. Look what happened to Cruise, bro. You think I'm gonna, like, bro, like Tom Cruise, like, once you know the truth, bro, like, they don't even keep you around no more. Like, his ass is crazy, bro. That movie made him crazy, bro. I think, bro, like, I don't know. But Tom Cruise, no, it's like they're gonna do that shit, and it's gonna be connected to the CERN supercomputer, okay? And that supercomputer is then going to have full access to nuclear facilities, power plants.
Well, they've already got.
And then
look, they've got
it's
pre-crime.
all through the internet, bro. It's all through the internet, man.
Look,
I'm telling you, flip the switch, bro. Get ready.
No, you're right though. So with the Minority Report stuff, a lot of this stuff is about pre-crime is really prejudging or prejudiced. So they can prejudice the public against angry white kids with bowl cuts or guys with turbans and Qurans. That's pre-crime right there, where they're already using the national security apparatus to study those individuals, to gain data on them. They've already
Yeah, bro.
us.
I mean, bro, like, bro, I heard about like Walmart or some shit. Like, bro, they got the most intense security system in the, other than like military, bro, in the world. Why? So they can collect data. You already see it now. If you go to a Walmart right now, anyone watching right now, go to a Walmart. You feel like a criminal. There's a person at the front looking right at you, making sure he sees you. Walk in. Staring you down. Then you look up, there's a scanner or a screen. You see a square around your face, dude. Like, just let you know, hey, we're watching you.
Yeah, that's all done under the
Where's
pretext,
that data going, bro?
They say we got to stop loss prevention because they say that they lose most of their product to theft, and I'm like, well, maybe they make the stuff so easy to steal so they can, I don't know. I mean, they can necessitate the infrastructure here where they basically turn it into surveillance.
No, it's not, bro. They want you to feel like a criminal, bro, everywhere. What do you mean, bro?
Oh yeah, I
heard some people talking the other day. They're like, oh, what? You know, Joe Rogan, man, this dumbass. Piece of shit, bro. Joe Rogan's a piece of shit, bro. He's garbage. You ever listen to Joe Rogan?
Not often. I try not to, but I know who you're talking about.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, Joe Rogan. I know he's probably watching this too, laughing at that. Eddie Bravo too. He's cool though. I fuck with Eddie Bravo. But Joe Rogan, bro, I got problems with Joe Rogan. I don't like people switch up, bro.
Yeah, he switched up big on the moon. He switched up big.
Wasn't it the past month, bro? What do you mean? A year ago, he's damn near crossing his legs on that goddamn show, just like talking so calm and hey, I'm, everything's cool. Now he's all, yeah, the right, they seem to have a good point. Actually, Alex Jones isn't that crazy. He totally flip-flopping like a fucking dumbass.
Oh, he did. He flip-flopped on Alex. Did he forgive Alex Jones for crossing the line with Sandy Hook?
I mean, Alex Jones, that bitch-ass a puppet too, bro.
Yep.
So if you hear this shit, if any little Jones-ass, Alex Jones piece of shit, bro, tell him to stop watching and get off right now. I don't care about the views. We don't care about views out here.
Exactly.
About truth and knowledge, dude.
Yeah, if you're listening, Alex Jones or Joe Rogan,
it's in Neo mode.
Get the fuck out, Joe Rogan. Get the fuck out, Alex Jones. We don't want you listening.
Yeah, start that. Joe Rogan, get the fuck out. Start it right now.
I'm starting the other one, actually. You already gave us some gold here. You said we need to start calling the CPS out there in Sweden on Greta's parents.
Greta, CPS. Yeah, what's next?
We're going to do that. That's good, man.
Yeah, 100%. But that Joe Rogan dude, bro, like that guy he's the moon is totally fake. Oh yeah. Blah blah blah. And now he's saying, there's no way. I don't think it's possible the government could ever do anything like that. It's just too much data out there. These scientists I've interviewed and given all these hand jobs to I just can't. These Neil deGrasse Tysons. That foreplay. I don't know.
Okay, so
Maybe
Joe
too much of
Rogan.
that, maybe.
Joe Rogan's a comedian, and now he's like
Regurgitating Bill Nye, science guy.
No, but what is it with these? What is it with these comedians who become?
Bill Nye too.
Bill Nye was a comedian. We get these comedians who are now suddenly like all around the conspiracies, trying to like prevent people from talking about the Earth being flat or climate change or fake shootings.
Well, I think Jake Paul, dude. Now that all right. So now you gotta understand, bro. But YouTube, bro, I play the game, bro. I play the game. You don't even get it. I play the game on YouTube, bro. It's a dirty game on YouTube, bro. Yeah, So basically, now they got it. So whenever you type in Sandy Hook conspiracy, this conspiracy, something conspiracy, these fucking dumbass 12-year-old like these dumbass 25-year-olds who speak to 12-year-olds. Those are the main people who buy their shit. You got those people, are the first people that come up. So now the authority is them. You feel me?
Yep, exactly.
They're not even getting in the infinite plane, bro.
No, you're right, man. Joe Rogan is the #1 podcast for comedy on iTunes. So yeah, they put these.
Yeah, I saw it on Joe Rogan, dude. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, dude, Neil deGrasse Tyson was on Joe Rogan, dude. He said it, bro. Gravity is the third neutron, dude. Like, it's over with. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Like, excuse me? I'm reading Plato right now, dude. Like, clearly you're fucking wrong. Like, these people are retarded, bro. They'll believe anything nowadays.
Yeah, well, people are definitely way too trusting of pop culture philosophers or pulp culture, gatekeepers, really. Like, why is
that's why I feel so bad for Juice WRLD, bro, because, like, Juice WRLD, like, I'm sure he's, like, a good kid, bro. Like, I heard he was a good student. Like, he made it in the music industry, bro. Dude, his songs are fire, bro. Dude, I'm telling you, this game is dirty, bro. You'll get on. You'll get it on, right? You're popping. You think you're doing it. You made it, right? That whole time. Homies just watching, just laughing their asses off. Just get ready, bro. In the back of their mind, just fucking smirking. Because they know what's next. You get hustled and work like a slave, bro. That's probably why. He said it in a song, bro. I mean, I like his melodies, though, bro. His melodies are fire, bro.
Well, look, there's no doubt.
His lyrics and shit crazy. I don't like his lyrics.
Okay, so a lot of these influencers, like him, or these, whether they're death fakers or whatever, if they're planted there to influence, it's because they're good enough to get the attention. So yeah, you do get the fine artists always get co-opted. I mean, that's why the guys painting the Sistine Chapel probably didn't even believe in this stuff, but that's where the gigs were. That's where you get the real money. It's totally controlled culture from the top down, but they make it look
like fashion and shit, bro. Look at Kanye, bro. He tried to get in the fashion industry, now it's crazy. You feel me?
Yep.
They gave him a shoe, but he's crazy. Okay, so you want to go fucking crazy just to get a shoe, bro? Or, make art? I don't get it, bro. Kanye is great. And, he speaks facts, bro. Like, Kanye, there have only been a couple things that he said that I disagree with, only because I think he said it wrong. Not because it's wrong.
Yeah, sometimes he strikes me as not a puppet, but as somebody who's kept on a leash, and they like sometimes.
Yeah.
He doesn't strike me as a different. There's a
you
difference.
Can't keep him on a leash. He's Kanye, bro. What do you mean, bro? Have you ever watched interviews of him?
Yeah, I watched him.
Old interviews.
Last month I watched older interviews. Yeah,
he's the same guy, bro. Same guy.
He's more lucid.
Seen a lot of shit.
Well, I saw him at TMZ giving.
He's talking about Mark Zuckerberg and shit, bro. What do you mean, bro? You can't just go out there and talk about these people like that.
Okay, hey, check this out. Look at Mark Zuckerberg and compare him to Data from Star Trek. Same face.
Mark Zuckerberg, bro. Mark Zuckerberg is I think, like, have you ever seen what's that movie? American Psycho. Bro, American Psycho. He like that dude, like, but like way less cool. Like he's like the fucking he's like if that dude were fucking what's his name from not The Hangover, bro. What's that one movie? Fucking Muffin or something.
Somebody will remember, but the fact is, look, but you know, just like you know, with,
he's a robot, dude. He has no soul, dude. Like he could probably murder someone and laugh, like not even laugh, just like you feel nothing.
Well, listen, I got to take off. It's been about 3 hours in. I think you've we've covered a lot of ground. You make some great points here, especially about Greta and the BS in general. About this Juice World, we're going to continue covering it as more stuff comes in. Just the level of pre-scripting makes me think it's probably a hoax death.
Yeah, big bet.
So, hey, I appreciate the call, though.
Well, I'm sure, bro. He's probably got bro's Neo Mode, dude. Yeah, absolutely, man. Anytime I just want to shout out Neo Mode, bro. Whatever you get out of this, I'm telling you right now, Neo Mode, okay?
Neo Mode.
That's the next wave, and I'll start making songs about it. If you want Neo Mode,
do it.
That's my shit. Everyone that's watching right now, go check out Neo Mode, and I'm going to make some Infinite Plane songs.
Damn, do it, please. That'd be great, man.
Will you play them on the...
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna cook up right now, actually. Okay. What's your send me an email. I need your email, bro.
InfinitePlaneSociety@gmail.com.
Oh, bet easy, bro. I got you. All right, give me like 15 minutes, bro. I'm gonna make some magic.
Do it, man. Do it. We'll happily play it because I do have all the music I play comes from listeners, and anything you do would be much appreciated. So thanks, man. Neo Mode sounds great.
Got you. Yeah, thank you, bro.
All right, have a great night.
You too.
All right, everyone. That's Neo Mode and InfinitePlaneSociety@gmail.com. Oh, and if you didn't know, Infinite Plane Radio's on iTunes now. Infinite Plane, we're on iTunes. So if you miss anything, like this will be on iTunes tomorrow. So Neo Mode, like breaking out of Plato's cave. Pretty simple as that. So yes, definitely we could use the music. I'm putting everything onto this SoundCloud account I have, and I just hooked it up to iTunes, so it should increase our listenership. And I'm tired of getting censored, as you all are. So this time I put my category as comedy. So hopefully, under the cover of satire, we can say whatever the hell we want without having to censor. I mean, how weak is that? He brought up Joe Rogan. How weak is it that Joe Rogan would walk back something as, like the moon landing? Like, you can't even stand on that being a hoax. That shows you how controlled someone is. They can't even step back on one of these things. Yeah, hey, Lean Dion, we're back on iTunes. I didn't know how easy it actually was. And we're doing iTunes just because I want to make sure that we have as broad a listenership as we possibly can. We're going to be continuing tomorrow on a couple of things, one of them being Juice World. I also want to look into his connections to other people in the industry who may be death fakers or affiliated with death fakers. And we'll see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, so we started off today talking about this girl here. She's the one who pretended to be an environmentalist. She walked up to AOC and she said, going green's not enough, Agenda 2030 is not enough, we got to start eating the babies. That was a troll, and here she is laughing at how she fooled a lot of people into thinking that they're that far gone, which they are. But you almost have to just bring it out in the open. Evolvement says, look into the Christmas asteroid. Buckshot says, whatever happened to Isaac Cappy? Isaac Cappy faked his death. If you look at the video from the car that drove by, that was not real. Isaac Cappy's not dead. It's all part of getting right-wingers and QAnon believers to believe in this deep state versus not deep state. It's all getting you to vote, just like they fake rappers' deaths to get you to buy records. They fake the deaths of political icons, turn them into martyrs to get votes. Getting votes, selling records, it's the same shit. It's you buying into the system. Alright, this is Solemite Fly, Auto Hoax, produced by DJ Ready Rail, and I will see you all tomorrow. Subscribe to my newsletter at infiniteplainsociety.com if you haven't.
Real.
CIA be lurking, I be in the turban. Little ones stay cursing, older ones out twerking. Talking about lack of education, streets are always dangerous. Bluetooth speakers playing, do you really hear what they saying? Do you know what that mean? Are you down for the team? They speak through signs and symbols, you can learn about these things. Live by 9/11, Club of 27. Once you think that they in heaven, nah bruh, it's a legend. It's all according to the code. Them Illuminati with my mind, body, and my soul. That's why they snatching bodies, everybody in a Holly Grove. Deception is a hobby, switching roles with the auto close. We call that an auto hoax.
Man, what you trying to prove? Don't you know we've been around the globe and been to the moon?
Get it, that's an auto hoax.
You tripping, times two. What about the shootings that they always cover on the news?
Real, that's an auto hoax.
They don't move, we will make the way. Let it spray, right reality like an AKA. Let them know we don't play. They live like life's a party, but it's really like a breakaway. Meditate, focus your attention on your better days. You know what I'm talking about. Don't let these slimy narcissists, the antichrist out there turn you out. Freedom of speech is actuality. That's why the truth must spread by word of mouth, word of mouth. It's all according to the code. Damn Illuminati with my mind, body, and my soul. That's why they snatching bodies, everybody in the Holly Grove. Deception is a hobby, switching roles with the auto clone. Let me turn on my auto hoax.
Not even a proven fact. The floor curves into a spinning ball, and you can test for that.
Globe is an auto hoax.
Man, you must be trolling me. Scientific theories aren't what they are shown to be.
Yup, that's an auto hoax.
So what you're saying is you don't accept the claim that's missing proof, then you label it.
Exactly, it's an auto hoax.
Wow, sports is scripted by the number code. What do I really don't? Let me turn on my auto hoax.
Squad.
Let me turn on my auto hoax and look this stuff up when I get home. Cause boy, I tell you, these kids today is tripping. I ain't tripping, he must be tripping. Cause I am not tripping, not one little bit. I know my...
You know, it's not